Good morning, everybody. We do have the stream going to the YouTubes this morning. It's a public stream, just so you guys know, for everyone's stat. But we do have a lot of gaps today, so we only got about 6 minutes prior to the market open before that we have to talk about this. But we'll try and be quick, and that's one thing about the strat that's good. So if we go to SPY, you got the 3-2 gap down into exhaustion risk, taking last month's lows, 2-2 reversal. If you go to the Qs, you're going to have gap into last month's lows, 3-2 into daily short-term exhaustion risk. Still hasn't taken out these guys on the daily, though, down in here, which I believe is the monthly magnitude on Qs. If you go to the Dow, we mentioned the 2-2 daily PMG yesterday. Boom, 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 takes them all out. You create your winning position. It's going to be opening a 2 down this morning. Still coming back through this daily broadening formation like so. If we go to IWM, we mentioned we were looking for the shooter 3122 Rev Strat, and that's going right down here. So gapping to the bottom of the range, and you're going to see 2198 gapping now could be down almost 6% in 2 days of trading. Very good stuff there. So when we have a gap down like this and everything's gapping down, the first thing we prefer to go for is the gaps up, because anyone that sold yesterday, if their stock is gapping up, they're going to have big problems, right? So we'll see if we have any there, and it looks like we do. We'll see Clorox, which you can see is green today. So it was green yesterday. It's going to be gapping up into exhaustion risk today. It'll be a gapper, just gapping to recent highs. So we'll let them open. If we go to Square was on the gap list, but it looks like it lost its gap, and it's going to be opening a 3-2 expansion to the downside. If we go to Coin is opening a 1. If we go to Dash is opening 3-2 to the upside, and it's going to have a Rev Strat hammer month in force while the market's going down. I believe this was also on the nightly vid going into the new month, but it's going potentially right into its first pivot target at the open. So we'll see. Probably one of the better ones. We go to Roku. Roku's slight gap up, but not going too to the upside. We want things taking yesterday's highs. Net, also not a bad look, but slight gap up, not taking yesterday's highs yet. Twillo, this is where we want to be. So Twillo above this right here, 5968 on that on Twillo. And if it takes that out and reclaims, we don't want to stick around. If we go to VIX, so the VIX has full time frame continuity, 3-2 month off the lows. This is a big problem for the market. Huge problem for the market, because you can see they made the slight lower low, 3-2 expansion back through previous range. The last higher high VIX made was back up in there, so we'll want to take a note of that. If we go to any of the UVXY or VIX instruments, they're going to look very similar. On the down gaps, Intel is just wrecked, and this was from your monthly Rev Strat talked about in the monthly vid. And you see, boom, right into its targets, not bad. If we go to Amazon, Amazon's opening a month down. That's a big problem, opening a month down on Amazon. We can also go to all the chips. NVIDIA is going to be taking last month's lows again. SMCI is going to reconfirm a quarter on the new month. If we go to NVIDIA, or not NVIDIA, TSM. TSM's close to a 2-2 month down. ARM is already doing that. We mentioned that one yesterday. Palantir might try and rev strat that quarter with a 2-2 month. See. And then we have all the indexes gapping down, which I already looked at. It's going to include the SMH ETF, which is a 3-2 expansion to the downside. This is where the most problems will likely be, with 3-2s that are getting bigger. And that goes for the monthly and the dailies. But the tech is also going to be, it's like 2-2 on the month to start the month. So a lot of things are going to become 2-2. We'll look at the scans prior to the open there. We can say Twillo on the kicker, and then we will see down gappers as Amazon, SPY, QQQ, IWM, Dow Jones, DLTR. Missed a few of these earnings names in here. We can look at Snapchat. So Snapchat went 3-2 month expando. It's already going to be gapping into its magnitude down here, but it could take out the rest of those guys on Snapchat down to like 7. And I know they don't really make money, so it wouldn't be too surprising. I would go to Mara. Mara from the weekend video, you're going to see the RevStrat month, or not weekend video, the monthly video. RevStrat month PMG is on its way. It's going to its first target. And then team, it's going to be opening at monthly magnitude. So you have a lot of earnings gaps downs. But we just don't have a crazy amount of magnitudes or anything on the downside. So when we get the earnings gaps downs, we want to let those open. And we're going to be opening up in about a minute here. So don't got too much time, but we're not in a crazy rush on the gap day. We're going to be seeing what this gap wants to do. So we can add Team and Mara in here. Amazon, we already got on there. LTR, say, let's see it. So you can see market open, SPY, Qs to the downside, discretionary down, XOP, which is energies down again, tech down, semis down. So everything opening 2 down. Marvel, you can see opening a 3-2 month, which is when we were trading last month. Pfizer is going RevStrat day up. Pfizer PFE. And wherever the buyers are, like PFE, this is where we want to be right away. And the reason that is because when you get a gap down on something like SPY, notice they sold yesterday and then gapped it down. We don't want to short that right away. We want to let it pull back and then go down if we're going to get shorts, which is why we're not in a crazy rush here today. Twillo does open 2 to the upside, but red. So unless that goes green on Twillo, we're not going to see that short squeeze. Yeah, so we see all the healthcares 2 up on the day today. So XLV healthcares going to be the strongest sector. Because they're still going up while everything else crashes. Same with the utilities. So they're buying utilities today, they're buying healthcares today. Staples are also 3-2 month up. So 3-2 month up staples. 3-2 month up utilities. So they're buying staples utilities. That's normally a defensive posturing. So we know they are willing to rotate out of tech and out of the bigger names into utility staples. Dow Jones is going to be coming for its outside week that we mentioned yesterday off the 2-2 day. So there's going to be your magnitudes. We'll see potentially a oneer triangle layout on Pfizer. They're going inside oneer currently. Twillo is also maybe a red to green move. We'll see. It's very slightly so far. So PFE oneer could confirm that daily. SPY and Q's opening as 2-2 months. This is just not good. With Dow Jones nowhere near a month down, but IBM, oh my gosh, erect. How are they going to fix this? Twillo does go red to green. Kicking pattern goes in force on the day with the 2-2 1 minute. It's still kind of lackluster in there. It's a doji. We want to see it nice and green because that tells us these shorts of yesterday are definitely getting forced to close. Currently, we see NXPI, ADI to the lows in the chips, Marvel to the lows, MU to the lows, AVGO to the lows, ARM to the lows. PFE, Pfizer goes into new highs with the healthcares being a natural buyer that we can identify. So you can see PFE in here. There's your inside 1 minute to the upside. Boom, rev strat, and confirms the rev strat day. Anyone short yesterday in Pfizer, they're getting kicked out. 3-2-1ers can try and confirm that. So what is Marvel doing? 3-2 month expansion, getting bigger. ARM 2-2 month expansion, still getting bigger from yesterday. And for those that were not here yesterday, this is what we did. Inside 15, green to red move on the day right out here at 128. Now trading 112, 111. We go to the other ones like MU. This one is quarter down. So this is one of the weakest chips. 2-2 quarter MU. It's going down towards here, 48.68. So that's something you'll want to know if we continue to see the chips going down. And then the other one was a QCOM in there. So second weakest with the MU. Crowd is also green to red move this morning. Bright red 3-2 month in force and bright red week. So what's happening right now is anyone who didn't short yesterday who sees this gap down occurring, they're just hitting the lows, right? They're shorting straight into the lows. So this is not the preferred short setup because if there's any type of profit taking from yesterday's sellers or today's sellers, could go and take out all these morning highs before dropping big if they're going to try and do that today. But right now you can see 3, 2 down weak, SPY still puking, 2 up in red, going 3 on the quarter. So like all that stuff does look good. We just can't go and just blindly short into these lows. We need to see it pop back up and then short it. Johnson & Johnson in the healthcares is up pretty big today. Dow Jones is about to finish out its outside week for yesterday's guys. Look at IBM. Where's that? So we zoom out just a little bit on IBM here. So when you aggressively reclaim a previous range like this, they're trying to go and take out all these guys in IBM down into this again. So they're too weak to do it last time we tried to do this, but this big 3 shows a lot of aggression because they're willing to buy up and sell down. So could happen this week, maybe. I don't think we're going to crash through all these guys this week. But next week with 3-2 expansions to the downside, that's definitely something we'd want to know below to this week's lows. So the shorts still look very good for anyone that's playing yesterday on Twitter. And we did talk about at the end of the morning stream yesterday in the stats for those guys. We want to hold on to that IBM because if we're a weekly guy, it's nowhere near reversing that week. And now it's even further away from having any chance of doing that. So you can see if we look at the daily basis across the market, everything's opening as a 2 down besides staples, besides utilities. So this is what we call rotation, at least as far as we can tell now. The Utes is something we identified yesterday with the 3-2 month going in force, and now a yearly magnitude all-time highs in the Utes. So we can stick to those for the buys if the market does start recovering. They're already going up. Do see NVIDIA gap down and buy slightly to start the day. And you can see NVIDIA has this big 3 that occurred yesterday. So now the question is, are we going to get a lot of 3 3s today or is everything going to stay down? Currently, let's see a lot of the chip stocks starting to recover. Not all of them, though. ADI is staying at the lows. See, AMD is probably the strongest given it's an inside day. You can see SPY, potential red to green move right there on the day. If you're going to try and buy anything, you can do it right there. And the reason a red to green move is something we can look for is because it'll be a 2-2 on like a 5-minute right here with day and 60 continuity the other way. So this could cause some short covering on this gap down. Qs does as well. So simultaneous fibers, SPY, and Qs. See IBM, some short covering going on now too with the rest of the indexes. NVIDIA is about to reclaim yesterday's 3 above 106.08. NVIDIA does that. So NVIDIA gap down and does reclaim yesterday's 3. Does not mean it has to become 3-3. We still have a lot of decoupling to do this morning, but it's the first one to gap fill that. Intel is still hitting the lows while everything's trying to strengthen up slightly. SPY's 10-minute hammer to the upside to open the day. And I only know that because we traded lower, higher, slightly above the open, and then broke higher again on the 5-minute. So if I had a super solid scan on the site, we'd want to be taking a look at see who's got outside 15s reclaiming yesterday's outside bars. We currently cannot scan for that yet. What I can say is on the scans here, daily 2s to the downside, you got 102 2 downs on the day. To the upside, you got 50. So we still have more 2s down than 2s up. And we have 0 outside days, which means nothing's gone outside bar yet. YouTube stream is blurry. I can check my settings here. YouTube stream is blurry. I imagine it may have something to do with your quality settings. Because I don't think I'm streaming at terrible quality here. Yeah, it's 1080p. Yeah. Good morning. So anyone that's just getting on the stream, we have a lot of gaps this morning. So we're going to try and stick to those 30-60s, let them open a bit and see where the buying and selling is occurring. I do see some continued selling in Myrna for anyone that was watching that one yesterday. The big outside week and now taking the month and quarter down. Kicker Twillo is not enforced. They went very slightly green this morning, but didn't give us anything to do. So now we can see SPY is full time from continuity down minus the day/intraday participants. So they tried to buy it up. Now the question is, if we get reversals here, does it negate the day back to red full time from continuity down if they're going to try and keep selling it down? Normally, though, we like to see this set up on like a 30 or 60 minute. Could set up on the 5, though. And they're just getting rid of Intel. It's going out of business. Jeez. So as far as two ups go on the day, there's a lot of ETFs in here. It's like Bitcoin stuff. Bitcoin 2-2 here, BITB. We'll want to make a note of that above 35.33 or 35.35, 38.12 BitB. You can also go to BitO. And you can see big daily broadening formation BitO. So this is where we'd want to be. Anyone that's short yesterday in this stuff, they're not having a good time in the Bitcoin. And as always, we like to see confirming signals if we can get some of those. And we can also go and take a look at the Bitcoin here. Twillo might be RevStrat Fiverr to cause that kicking pattern day on Twillo. 2215's back up on AVGO. Nvidia's closer to 15's back up. So there's a few chips trying to recover there. SPY closer to 15's up. Q's closer to 15's back up. Dow not so much. IBM closer to 15's up. So they might try and strengthen up here in the second 15 of the day. We'll see. Yeah, Bitcoin here. Notice this big daily broadening formation. This is where we want to know about it. And while the whole market's going down, this is going up, which gives us some additional evidence that there is a buyer in there that we can identify today. And BitB looks like it tracks the Bitcoin better than something like BitO, which is trading, it looks like slightly below what intrinsic value could be there. But BitB does not have options. BitO does. Same with ARCB. I believe it does not have options. Yeah, so BitO is the only one with the options in there. If you're a Bitcoin trader, you can just go and trade the Bitcoin itself, but is what it is there. SPY goes 5 down on the second 15, so no 15s up there. Same with Qs, 225 down after slight triangle out of the morning shorts. So that's your first triangle out of the day, trying to go lower. You can try that, right? But we'll have to see if that is going to work or if we're going to have to try new setups. It also means Dow Jones 225er is going to be weaker because it failed to take morning highs, but it's right above its exhaustion risk on the day. It's like Pinterest is still not having a good time. Pinterest could turn into a really crazy short. You can see on this stuff on the week. Below this 30.51, they're coming for all these guys to 16. So small account guys. You can also see that one was 2 weeks to take the morning highs out. But those looks like SPY and Qs do negate the day green to red with the 5-minute signal. Yeah, so most of the M4 signals bullish are healthcare, and then there's like one financial in there. So XLVs, they're still 2 up. They did triangle out, setting up closer to go 225ers back up. Still doji on the day. And it's kind of slim pickings. Maybe Bristol Myers, but Doji's on a lot of stuff there. Pfizer did have some triangle out action, so maybe it's just not as much evidence as I'd prefer. Datadog with crowd is 322 month to the downside, taking out outside quarter today. Yeah, so I'm still fine with being a little more patient here. You can see SPY on the fivers. They tried to make low day, but they're unable to so far, staying in inside 15. They haven't negated that fiver, but making slight higher lows there. Yeah, there's only 12 things on my continuity up list today that are going up today. On the downside, we got 83 full time frame continuity twos to the downside. I see a lot of consumer cyclical, consumer defensive, a lot of technology sector. So it's kind of 50-50 as far as the open here with continuity up, continuity down. And that's kind of where we want to wait for signals. IBM is going 2215s back up, so it's going to be one of the stronger ones on the morning gaps here. Would I say wait for signals? I mean, like I want to see inside bars or hammer shooters, rev strats, etc. Because right now we only have second 15 of the day. And what that means is we only can trade 2215 signals, right? Those are going to be the only ones that are occurring. Which we can take an initial look and just see who's in force on the 15, up or down, what's going on. So a lot of recovery on the 15ers, a lot of consumer cyclical in the recovery, a lot of consumer cyclical. And then there's a good chunk of financial services as well. So Bank of America is coming up a little bit from some exhaustion risk on the week. Melon, BK is 2215's back up coming in. Potential 3-day. So there's a few in there. CINF, which is an inside day, a little stronger, but no volume. CMA is a 2215, but it's conflicted with the week. So there's some things recovering in financial services. We can say that. The problem with scanning these little small time frames is that they're very small time frames. So unless we have twos going through on the day, these 15s, a lot of things here are inside day. But the cyclicals definitely are sticking out kind of like a sore thumb here. Yeah, so TOL is potentially gap fill and then reclaim yesterday's lows. PHM reclaims yesterday's lows, potential 3. That's home builders. XHB is still a little weak on that side of things, but at the bottom of an outside week. So if we were to see recovery, Home builders could be a decent bet. We'll have to see though. So 2 down on the day. So you can see SPY reconfirms the 5 or 2 to the downside again. So they're reconfirming the 2-2 reversal. At least they're trying to. Q's is reconfirming as well. 2 down again. So we'll try and make low a day. After that, we're not too certain. That means NVIDIA goes green to red with its 3-2 day to the downside. That's no good. FSLR potential 3-3 with a 2-2-5er to cause that outside 15er. Yeah, so even Lowe's in the home builders, even Home Depot in the home builders. So you can pick up on a lot of that stuff potentially recovering. That's about all I can find from now. We can say the Utes and the staples are still pretty green, so those are already going up. Anyone that was trading PayX yesterday to set up your weekly rev strat shooter, it goes 2 down again on the day, which reconfirms yesterday's 2-2 reversals. And you'll have that shooter rev strat for next week, the complete opposite of what we did down here at 818 or 118. It's now going to occur rev strat at 124 or something around there for next week. That'll be on the weekend vid for sure. Potential corrective activity on BitO. It's just corrective against the day. SPY slow and steady working its way to low day with full time from continuity down. Dow Jones, IBM both went shooter fibers off the highs, or shooter fiber reversal, reconfirming SPY and Qs to the downside. So it looks like we'll see things like Marvel and MU make low a day again. And that'll be 2 down 15 to start the day. Still no reversals for solid entries besides like 5-minute stuff. There's a few rev strats on the chips side of things, but not much. Showing up late to class. Yeah, we're only here for the gappers. That's the only reason I'm on today. If we didn't have the big gap this morning, I probably wouldn't have came on. Still doesn't mean I'm getting on to just go nuts with a ton of trades. But if we can figure out what they're doing pretty timely, then things will be good. So you can see SPY. They did what we kind of thought may happen here. The 2-2-5er went 2-2, negated the day from green to red, and then confirm makes low day. 2-2 reversal, low a day. Now this is what we call the good morning try, because you make a higher high, reverse, and then a lower low. These 4 bars go outside of the first 2, and therefore this is a broadening formation. So if you go on a 1-minute time frame, you'll see this. Poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down. And now we have a 3 to mess with, so we can gauge, is the market broadening or is it coming back through that previous range? So now that they're at low day, we don't know. What we do know is whoever bought in the morning could be holding a losing position at this point against full time from continuity with a 3-2 day to the downside. And in the chips, I see inside 15 cooking Intel. So that will set up into the flip. And I'll try and work with Elaine to see what she got going on too. I know she's leaving a little early. Elaine, are you alerting this morning? You see SPY at low of day. They do slight 221, or it's against continuity, but coming from exhaustion risk. Qs slight higher low, so staying inside 15 on the Qs for now from the looks of it. Dow is also slight higher low, just stuck in the morning range. This is why it's important, if you can, to be a little patient with these gap days, because in the morning, that volatility might just not be there right away. And the reason this happens is because if everyone sold yesterday, right, which they did, 2 up in red, boom, you're forced to sell. If you didn't want to, you did. When it gaps down today, everyone's already short, right? So we either need the sellers to step up and be willing to short the gap down, or the other side of that trade is the buyers come in here. Anyone that was short yesterday, they start closing those shorts, forcing then this day to green, and then it forces other shorts to close, which causes a recovery. So like right now, what we'd say is, since it went 2 down, 15, it's still going down, right? But there's no reversal in here besides that 5 minute. So if you're short, it's off the fiver, and if that starts recovering back into your entry, or at least high day at the worst, you're going to get stopped out, and so be it. We'll have to see what the next signal is. Looks like healthcares are kind of just stuck in their morning range for now. Staples are still closer to the highs. The Utes kind of stuck in their morning range for now too. Tech still holding right above the morning lows off the 225s with the rest of the market. But we'd like to see them make low a day and stop those guys out. New 15s open. So you'll have inside 15 Marvel, inside 15 ARM, inside 15 AMD, inside 15 NVIDIA. Those are all in the semis. And you'll see in the semis and tech, everything has this 1 on the 15er. So this is what we call momentum. When it's going down, 2 to the downside, 1, and then 2 down again. Now, does it mean that can't work? No, but this is not a preferred entry. This is a preferred add. So if you're already short today, you can take momentum stuff down. But if you weren't, it's preferred this rev strats up and at least sets up a reversal instead of continuation to enter on. And you can see SPY, this is going to be the second 30 of the day, decoupling of the 30 and daily groups. And SPY's opening slight 2 down in green. So second 30 guys are buying 2 down in green, which means they're reclaiming this try with 30-minute continuity, or at least they're trying to. Like most of those 15ers are staying inside for now. And you can see how right on that second 30, notice everything changes intraday. The 60 is still going to be red, which I'm not sure if it shows it here. So notice the 60 is still red, but 30, 15, 5 changes control, unless that 30 or 15 and 5 can flip red and give it back to the 60. Pfizer is a 15 momentum hammer with full time from continuity and a rev strat day. It's just a little bit mother bar to its morning range, but it does have a 60 or 15 signal confirming its daily signal. Myrna is taking out the morning highs on the gap down. The utilities went 30s gap up sell 2230 short on the XLU. Stuff like SO could be a big pivot machine gun on the 30-minute time frame. Utilities. Duck. Watch the duck. And these can be some nutty setups. So we know utilities are going up. What we'd be playing here is when this goes green to red day, right here on duck, and all the utilities go 30s down, maybe these could weaken up and we could try and take some of these guys out. The only thing is this is like the only sector going up, so if that doesn't work, we have to take it long the other way. Looks like AEP is already very red in the utilities, XLU. But watch all the Utes shooter 32.2s from the morning highs. I mean, it's not all of them. AEP Looks like it's one of the worst ones, but that'd be momentum if you're trying to snag that one. It's just got to go. It's like they're trying to resolve back lower on the indexes as well. Some oneers back down. No fivers against after low day on SPY. No fivers against on Qs either, so they're just selling. So Qs is closer to breaking its 15 down. NVIDIA did break it just now. Marvel's pretty close. ARM goes inside 15 down. And this is all momentum. So there's no messing around if you're going to try and do an entry on momentum. Goes for the Qs, goes for any of the tech stocks, goes for all the semis. Because momentum just got to go. NVIDIA, for example, you can see this is momentum. It's 2 down, 1, 2 down. The only good thing here is whoever bought in the mornings put their stop here because they tried to buy NVIDIA. Went up 5%, right? There was a buyer there. So they go inside down and take that buyer out below 102.70 and force them into a losing trade. But it's got to stay down there. If it starts retracing back into this equilibrium, it could go back to high day again. So it's got to stay down. If we go to Marvel, inside 15 here, that's got to stay down after low day. There's no messing around. Go to ARM, that's got to stay down there, right? If we go to QQQ, Qs, that's got to stay down there below this. If you go on the week, Qs is going to have another weekly pivot, 443.06. It's already taking out its monthly magnitude here. But given what we know to be true, we have a 2 up in red on the quarter, and we know a 2 up in red is a potential 3. So you do have further targets on the Qs there. So you got Marvel, you got ARM, you got NVIDIA, maybe even NXPI. Intel has not broken yet. You got all those in the chips doing that. Crowd is momentum 30 shooter down with bright red continuity, so crowd is still getting wrecked. MU is also 30s down again. One of the weaker chips. AVGO is a 2215 down, so this is technically preferred. It did go 2 up, which makes it stronger than the rest, so a little bit of a conundrum there. And you can see SPY right here. Shooter fiver, 2 down, makes the lows. Does try and recover, but no reversal. Momentum shooter, all of those longs just takes them all out. And again, the reason this happens is simply because these long buyers in here, once it starts running away from that morning range, they're all forced to exit. So we did get those guys. If we go to FSLR, you got a 32215. We mentioned the fivers there too that set that up. It's trying to go to the lows. Dow Jones is 15 down as well with Qs. It's momentum though, and it's at weekly outside week. IDBM is 2 reversal 15 with bright red outside week. That's in force expansion. So IDBM a little bit bad there too. NVIDIA sticking at the lows for now. Same with the rest of them. NVIDIA is under low a day now. See on the tech, simultaneous break with all the semis. XLK inside 15 down. SMH inside 15 down. And then Qs inside 15 down. And then that's going to bleed over to NVIDIA inside 15 down. So you can see how it all happens at once. That's something we'd look for. Now, it only lasts for 15 minutes, so we'll be aware of that. That's the other thing when you trade the open. Even if you get a really good signal like this, it lasts 15 minutes, which is why we prefer those 60-30 signals, since they give us more time to go after things. Go on the utilities. Did we know? We did. 2230 on the gap up. Is that something we look for? Yes. There's your gap fill XLU. So now once it's filled this gap, what we say is if you're not back under yesterday's highs, we cannot become a 3. So if the utilities are going to recover and keep going higher today because they're the strongest sector, they may gap fill and then try to recover. So be very aware of that if you're playing any of the Utes there. But you can see it also went 15 down, simultaneous break with everything else for 15 minutes. SPY's going into short-term weekly exhaustion as well at low a day. It's going to be very difficult to reverse that 5 though, so we'll see. Looks like the financials went shooter 15 down too. Regional banks go shooter 15 down right now. Only 5 minutes to go. So financials, regional banks, going back to Pukin. FSLR on the 322 15er. Pukin going for the 3-3, but it's delayed, which gives you the compound 3. NVIDIA on the 15er is trading well below that previous low a day at 102.70, and it's below its exhaustion risk right now, 102.54. So if you were a NVIDIA guy, you play this 15 here, breaks lower, now your stop goes even, because if it were to reclaim this low and hit your stop, it's not something you want to be short anymore. It'd be a long, it'd be a rev strat. So you'd want to reduce by like half down in here and then just let it try and do its thing. And you got 5 minutes technically if you want to give them the rest of that 15. IWM about to take the morning lows like the SPY did earlier. Stop them out. Microsoft is a 222 with full time frame continuity down with a 2-2 on the month, causing a potential 3/4 with a magnitude to 388.17 Microsoft. You see Meta is getting killed in here today too with the 2-2 day after yesterday's gap sell on earnings. So measure your tryout on Meta. Meta, you got magnitude down into here, 441.94. So you can start doing some observations. And this is going 33-2 down this morning. Again, we would have been scanning for those threes if we could. Sadly, we can't. FSLR on the 322 on the 15er goes to magnitude. Shows you on my Thinkorswim, not on my trading view with less data. Intel becomes inside 15 down with the rest of the chips, measured move, momentum. And that one's super red. It's on the month, so we'll see. NVIDIA is coming back near the morning lows. Utilities go inside Fiverr to confirm or negate that 15 that or that 30 that broke lower. Very happy to hear that, Miguel. SPY is just simply a crater. All right, we're coming in 2 minutes to the end of the 15ers. We're gonna have a new 60 opening 15 minutes after that. So mind that new 15 opening. All the inside 15 signals are going to exhaust simultaneously. So if you look at the tech, look at the utilities, which is not having a good time right now. Any of the chips like NVIDIA, ARM is going to exhaust its 15. Marvel, will exhaust its 15, and then MU's still puking. Intel will exhaust its 15. So mind the flip. And when we say exhaust, what we mean is that signal is no longer in force, meaning it is no longer relevant. So we want to play defense whenever things exhaust. If you go to IDBM, that 15, 2-2 is going to exhaust. And the reason this is important is because when it exhausts here, this is your 3 on IDBM, right? So these 2 bars outside of that, you can see this would be your good morning try, similar to what the SPY did. And the SPY currently is still expanding that thing. You can see they tried slight recovery, no fivers against, and then right here, and we said there's an inside oneer reconfirming the downside, trying to make that low a day. They take out the low of the try, and then boom, 3-2 expansion. Everything gets bigger. Then Dow Jones gonna exhaust its 15 as well. The Utes are right at yesterday's highs, gap fill. So watch the 60s on the next flip in 15 minutes. We'll see what that second 60 does. If it comes back through with full time from continuity, or if we go 2-2 PMG all these guys, that could be a big, big problem in XLU. I imagine those 73.5 or 73 puts would be really cheap. All right, new 15's open, and you can see it changes what we know to be true SPY by going inside bar. This is retracement, not reversal at this point, because it's nowhere near becoming a 2 up above that. But if you're a 15 guy, you'd reduce right there, or at least have a break-even stop to defend your money, right? If you go to any of the chips, they all become inside bar and green. You have to defend your money if you're playing any of that stuff. And then any of the stronger names will be 15 reversal back up, which is what I'm going to try and hunt out. I don't think we're going to have much, though. There's only 2 names that have enforced 2 up 15 signals right now. Only 2. IDBM reconfirms the sell IDBM with a shooter oneer on the new 15s, confirming a 30 shooter, the 3-2 shooter oneer. There's momentum at the bottom of the range. So you can see on something like NVIDIA, when it goes inside 15 green, you have to have a break-even stop. That's the first rule. And the second rule is you either partial that or keep the break-even, risking their money. Don't risk yours. But if we go and just scan and say, well, how many 2s down do we have on the 15 now? Is anything dropping? Got 97 2 down 15s. 216 inside bars. I apologize, we missed out on the healthcares with the 3-2-30 back into the previous range. So when we look at something that looks like IDBM here on the daily, anyone that's long this thing, either up in here or in this whole entire range, they're shaking in their boots looking at this right now. This is something we'll want to know about super, super bad next week, because when stuff starts moving like this, it might keep moving, right? You see the VIX today? Boom, blast off. 3-2 month to the upside. If you go on the day, do you see that? 20 to 24. off a 2215 in the VIX. Isn't that crazy? They're getting terrified. That means utilities, they might get a lot worse in here. It's good to know about a 2-2 on a gap up, isn't it? Financials still a puking on the 2215. Dow goes inside 5 at the lows, SPY inside 5 at the lows, Q's inside 5 at the lows, mine the next fiver. Gosh, I really hope this isn't a day I have to sit on all day. I wanted to golf super bad. But maybe we golf later, I'm not sure. I, I said it's preferred we add because whenever you trade momentum, you're just hoping sellers show up and step up into lows. We don't like selling new lows. We don't like buying new highs because the broadening formation exists. Notice NVIDIA is reclaiming that previous morning low. That puts you in jeopardy because they just failed one side of the range, the morning lows. Where would you try to go if that starts recovering? The morning highs, and you just get completely wiped out. So that's why we have to be very aware whenever it's momentum. Because notice, when this goes 225 and reclaims the low a day, the broadening formation's here at 107.49, right when this is back above this. So we have to be very aware of that. And that's why we prefer stuff where, like, if we went to Pfizer, for example, you can have this reversal here on the 15, 2-2, and then you take out all these guys here, it's reversal. And since it's reversal on the 15, it's also reversal on the 30. It also sets up a 60, right? Whereas NVIDIA, you take the 15 momentum, it sets up momentum. It sets up continuation into daily magnitude, which has already been taken. So you don't have much evidence to get it lower besides the rest of the market being a puke. Dow Jones smacking the lows, going with momentum shooter inside fiver we mentioned. SPY did make low a day, did not stay down. Q's double inside still. IBM still low a day as well with the Momo shoot 30 in force. But you can see momentum creates momentum continuation setups. Reversals create reversal setups. So we want to trade reversal setups that can create full time frame continuity and then add on the momentum setups that will keep that thing continuing instead of entering on momentum and then adding on momentum. It's going to be much more difficult to trade like that. Because like utilities, now that it's really puking like this, you can go momentum all you want, right? We can gauge the magnitude as a 3-day on this down here. And the PMG on the 30 increases the odds this should go really quick. So you can trade the momentum stuff, right? You can go in here on the 1 minute. We call the 2-2-2 a momentum setup. So 2-2-2 momentum right here. There is some triangle out 2-2 in here. And it doesn't look like they had much momentum stuff up here. But the 2-2-2 right here, this is momentum. 2 down, 2 up, 2 down, and then puke. SPYs, you can see reclaiming the inside 5 with a oneer. It could be triangle layouts. We'll see. The next 60 flip is in 8 minutes, and they sold the hell out of it to start the day on SPY. So that sets our continuity level for the day as bright red, right? So how are we changing that? That's going to be very difficult. 535 currently trading just under 530. So they're $5 red on the day with full time frame continuity down. How are you going to turn that around would be your question. Same with IBM, Momo shooter first 60 of the day. Dow Jones, how are you going to turn that around? Q's, how are you going to turn that around? Tech, a little bit stronger inside 15. Staples with the utilities, all the defensive stuff now having issues. So this is where if the defensive stuff starts reversing, everything's already going down. So the market could puke on this second 60 of the day with staples and utilities going 2 up, 2 down. And therefore, we can go and short the 2 up, 2 downs if we'd like. Because everything else will be continuation 60 down, we'd prefer to do that. And if you're like a fiver guy on SPY, this 5 minute still hasn't reversed from right here at 535.93. So that's a good thing. Q's also still has not reversed from here. 451.38, double inside 5 at the lows. So you can see just as a fiver guy, it goes a percent for you. Look at the utilities. Did we know like we did. You can see duck gets a moving. SO 2230 PMG, ouch, right? Sets up the 60 shoot. So all the utilities getting countered. We want to know that. WEC sets up a 60. If you get an AEP, mention that as being one of the big red ones in there. Got that. Not sure about NRG. Yeah, NRG is just getting wrecked in here. I believe that's going to be quarter close to down. Yeah, we'll see. But what we can say here is intraday, the technologies do firm up a tiny bit on the inside 15. They're likely to go inside 60 to start the next flip. IBM's still slamming the lows. That's a good thing. Dow Jones still slamming the lows. That's a good thing. So those two are the heaviest rotation names out or getting out. Looking at Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi is nowhere near an outside day. So you want to go for things closer to going outside if you're going to try and do staples. Like we would want the stuff 2 down or already 3 ideally. It's like Monster. Maybe that goes 3-260 and just wipes out that whole daily try today, right? So Monster on the 3-2 potentially. We could take a look. I'll try to get into consumer cyclical and the utilities. Some utilities, you got a few outside bars, AEE 3, DTE 3. And I'm just going to try and I'm going to snag a screenshot here. So premium chat, I'm going to throw this in the chat so we can track the utilities. These are all outside 60. If we go consumer cyclical, or consumer defensive, I mean. Yeah, Monster, ADM, Kroger, KVUE, Dollar Tree, Walmart. So the important thing to note is whenever you have an outside 60, it shows aggression, right? They're willing to buy it up. You can see they bought up 1.5% this morning on DTE. Then they're willing to sell it down 1.5%. So they're very aggressive, right? This is what traders are looking for. But it's also a broadening formation. So this is what your try looks like. It might look nutty, but notice you're outside of this previous range here. So this is a 3 on the 60 to this previous 60. And this is where people just get confused because they're like, this range is so big, I don't know what to do. Like, where's the stock? What's going on? Since this is a 3, we know if we break the low of it, it is an expansion of that range. If it breaks the low and reclaims, it's reclaiming 3-3 potentially. So we play both the break and the failure of that break. So we'll want to make note of that on the next flip. And we'll see AEE in the utilities, DTE in the utilities, ATO, NEE, NI, PEG, and PEG's big red one, PNW, SO, all of it. And you see SO is one of those 30 mentions. In the video, this is exactly what we're talking about. Notice the 5 reverses, reclaims low day, and then back it. Notice how it rev strats the 15. This rev strat 15 happens because of momentum, right? Everyone shorted low a day in the magnitude, and then it changed here, negating that inside bar breakdown, countered by a more aggressive buyer off low a day. Hourly flip in 2 minutes here, guys. We got a nice big outside oneer on IBM. What we can say about tech is tech did complete a compound 3 on the monthly today, right at 18,435.75 on the NASDAQ. So if we look at the tech, for example, you can see the 3 this morning, broadening formation, poke up, poke down, It's trying to reclaim, but we don't have much continuity to suggest that, so we'll see. Second 60s of the day are opening very shortly, so this can change what we know or confirm what we know. Most things are not closer to reversing up. We'll see if there is anything doing that, but most things are closer to going back down besides a few. Maybe you can see like NXPI, this is a hammer on the 60. It's just not really anywhere near going outside day. Could change. We'll see. We got a tech. It's more of a doji going inside bar on the next 60 to start. Looks like energies are getting killed. Industrials might get a little stuck. There's just really nothing. Even gold is a little bit of a shooter. Only thing I can see going up in any big way is TLT. If you're a long side trader, either go play TLT or might have to wait. And you see first fiver against SPY from high a day, and that occurs $4 lower. Hughes also did that, and I'm not sure, maybe like $4 lower. Dow Jones is still a 2 down on the 5. IWM is slight triangle out down here. All right, new 60s open. We want to know who's confirming, who's negating. Right away, Dow Jones reconfirms that seller's still present, going 2 down 60 again. SPY firms up with an inside bar. Qs firms up inside bar. Utilities firm up going inside bar to start. Staples, XLP, 2260s down. Staples. Kroger could become a 3-2 down. It's currently green though. Don't see a lot of these 3-2s on the staples doing too much. But XLP is a 2260 back down. So you can see on the utilities, this is what exhaustion is. 32 to reversal for 30 minutes. Boom, exhaustion right here. This is where you reduce / defend. Then if they were to go 60s down, add back / get more. But when that goes inside bar, it's no longer a reversal down. This is a higher low. So at this point, it has firmed up. SPY, you can see firms up inside 60 green to start, closer to a 2215 reversal at low day. Hughes has gone inside 15 up, which gives it relative strength. NVIDIA is going to be a hammer 30 with just day and 60 continuity, so it's kind of lacking. I just don't see how SPY and Qs are going to recover this, nor Dow Jones or IWM. I think it's a maybe. I don't think so. We'll have to see. The only thing that gives it a little bit of credibility on trying to recover is the fact that it's a gap down sell, but everything else points lower. So staples, the only thing I got on this new flip for you. Pepsi, 2 up, 2 down on the gapper list. I don't know if I had earnings or something today, but Pepsi at the staples. Simultaneous break. And what we can see on PEP is, although it is 2260, so it's actionable, it's nowhere near stopping out any of yesterday's long guys, which is why we want to go after those 3-2s. I just don't see many of them doing it. Let's see if we go to XLP. At least this is much closer, taking out all these guys in here, right? It's just conflicted day and 60 against the week and month, I believe. Yeah. The Utes, slight poke up on the fiver, goes Rev Strat Wonders back down. Coca-Cola with Pepsi is also 2260, so it is technically simultaneous break. You can see anyone that bought Coca-Cola this morning is underwater to start. And when we identify that condition right like this, it should just go. There's not really much hesitation you should be seeing there, because anyone in the morning that bought, which they sent it up almost 2% on this blue chip stock, they're underwater at that point, right? Does look like Pfizer is reclaiming its morning outside 62 down in green, and Pfizer. So 5, very slight triangle layout. See, it's a lot of smaller stuff this week with all the volatility. Very slight triangle out on the 1 minute. Same with the Qs, 2 up in red, fivers, PMG sitting up for low a day in a minute. Utilities, hammer fiver with the new 60 continuity on the flip. Tempting to recover, nowhere near 2 up on the 60, so they're chop shop away. So Utes are going to chop. Pepsi does not stay 62 up, 2 down in force. So right now when it's green on that 60, there's nothing we can do as far as the short side's concerned. They're just closer to going fivers back up, 2 down in green. The staples are also not an enforced signal, although it is simultaneous breakdown with some of the staples doing it, not all of them. Dow Jones, right about to go back to low a day. So this one's one of the weaker names still. You can see with their nice 2-2 day on the day yesterday. Just amazing, amazing stuff there. They're staying it down. So Dow Jones still confirming the sell with bright red continuity, trying to rev strat the month Dow Jones. So that's a problem. SPY, shooter, fiver, PMG back to the lows with the Qs. 225er Qs. Notice the PMG. This is a setup we look for. Why? Because you can take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, or 5 minutes worth of guys. So 5 times 5, almost a 30-minute candle worth of guys. And you might do that in 5 minutes, which causes price to speed up. Staples did slight triangle out fivers, so we'll see if they go 2-2-2 momentum. Utes are still recovering, at least strengthening up a bit. And notice utilities is an outside 60 and then trying to strengthen up. So this 225er is at the bottom of the broadening formation. So it's trying to go back up there technically. It's a matter of are they actually going to do that? Not too certain. Pepsi's still recovering in the staples, so that one's a no-go. In the staples, you do have KMB 2260, which is starting to move a little bit. Procter and Gamble PG 2260 shooter starting to move a little bit. RSG is a 2-2 shooter 60 potential 3-day RSG. It's not the best in the world though. ITW is going 3-2 reversal 60. Never traded that one before though. OIH is still puking with the energies. XOP still puking. They're all just getting wrecked in here. You can see the quarter 322 in XOP. OIH is still a 1. XLE is close to its 322 quarter, close to its 22 month. So SPY does make a low a day on their 225er. So you can see the very slight penny triangle out and then reversal. Makes the lows. Now does it stay down there? Qs is still working on it. The Dow still down there. IWM no low a day. VIX at 27. Yeah, we talked about it this morning. You got the 3-2 month. Where's that going? Up there. So the importance of the utilities and the staples. Before I talk about that, MU is a 15 or inside down, confirming on the gappers. In the chips, it's just confirming that it's selling down. ARM, might be a RevStrat 15 ARM. Dow Jones is getting very wrecked. But the importance of the Utes and staples is when those are going up, it's defensive posturing because utilities, everyone has to pay for energy, right? So that's not going anywhere. Staples, which is just food stuff like Campbell's chicken noodle soup or Tyson or uh, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, blue chips, pretty much, they're not going anywhere. So normally when the market is more uncertain, and you'll notice the VIX goes up when everyone's uncertain. Um, Normally, when that's the case, they'll go and buy Utes and they'll go and buy staples. But if we see them selling staples and Utes, that's how we know there's an actual problem because that tells us they're not just rotating into defensive posturing, they are getting out of the market, right? So when everything is just puking, that's when you have a bigger issue simply due to the fact that everyone's selling and we can't identify an institutional participant that's willing to rotate. Um, so that's a very, very important concept to know when you're, especially intraday, whenever the market starts doing crazy stuff like this. And when the VIX goes really high, that's when days get really big, and each 60 is a new day, like we say. Qs does go slight 2-9 green fiber. Dow Jones still smacking the lows. You can see XLF from the 2-2 yesterday, crater back through previous range, reclaiming this previous 3. And this is for those that were on the stream yesterday. Utilities go 225 or back down, so they're trying to kick back in, still an inside 60. Staples are still in force 60. KO is an in force 60 currently. And the way you can think about it is like, if they don't even think people are going to be buying Coke, or if they think Coke is going to have a problem, then everyone else is likely to have a problem too, because Coke's been around so long. Same can be said about like the bigger seven or the big 7 names like Apple, which Apple is green today. So if there is going to be any longs, we can find a buyer in Apple. Meta, not doing good. What about Amazon? Amazon, not doing good. Look at this on Amazon. 3 on the quarter. Where are you going? See Dow Jones 15 are still good. Staples are starting to move a little bit on that 60 after a rebreak. Look at the UVXY. This is going to be an amazing short once we can get the shorts. I can't wait to do the short VIX trade. Got to make sure I'm prepared for it this time, though. The Q's still firmed up with no rev strat 15 down. Fiverr had that 2 down in green to reduce, and it does negate that. So it gets stuck inside 60 QQQ, which means tech firms up. Monster 3260 down in the staples. Monster. Sorry about that. I had a phone call, but Coca-Cola is starting to get moving a bit there. New 15s confirm. Pepsi goes 2 up, 2 down after Fiverr's breaking back lower. There's your 60 down Pepsi confirming Coca-Cola. The utilities after the Fiverr 2-2 reversal to get short again or potentially add back to an initial 30 short works to make low a day and causes the 3260 where you can add a third time below 73.68 and you'd move your whole risk on the position to 73.88, which is well below your break even if you nailed that 30 in the morning. And 3-2's got to just get going, right? There's no waiting around for that. And this, we'll see SPY still recovering a little bit after low a day exhaustion risk, so they might triangle out again. Dow, a little bit recovery. IBM still firmed up with the Qs inside 60. So mind all the inside 60s on this flip. All these ones will either confirm downward direction or negate and try to go higher. So on this third 60 of the day, we'll have a simultaneous break on a lot of inside 60s from the looks of it. You have all the tech inside with Qs, and then you got the small cappers going inside with financials still going down, regional banks going inside. Industrials currently still a 1, materials still a 1, and these are all setting up potential measured moves. So either that or they reverse back up and get mother bar stuck. There, boom, Coca-Cola, puke, gap fill KO. Pepsi on the rebreak, there she goes. Slight stop out, make your money back, and then break even. So let it do its thing. And that's going to get Dow Jones puking because the small caps, or not the small caps, the blue chip stuff is normally going to be a part of that. The Utes are still 3-2 down. Monster is a 3-2 expansion still. And then we can take a look at any of the outside bars from the, so ADM's also 3-2 in the staples. STZ's doing it a little bit. TAP really got after it. SYY is starting to do it a little bit with a 3-2-60 and 3-2 day. Ouch. Walmart already went outside day. Dollar Tree is still at 1. So you can see while they sell off some of the defensive stuff, they're buying a little bit of the SPY, which could cause a 2-2-15, which negates the 60 continuity. So we'll have Q's inside bar, which is going to be stronger, right? As it did not shake out the morning lows. And then SPY is a 2 down in green, at least right now. We'll see. Still got 50 minutes. And then Dow Jones could also become a 2 down in green. So all the inside bars would be relatively strong since they didn't go lower. But we will have to see. And this means we definitely want to have break-even stops on any of these gap sell staples names or utilities names, because if we were to see SPY stay a 2 down in green, that means it's trying to firm up and fail the lows. Still not going to say it's recovered yet, as it's still a 2 down. So the Utes, this is where you got to be very careful. The inside 15 down momentum works, right? Does take the 30s down. But notice how penny above back into this. 73.68 is the low of that 3. So anytime it's back into that, it's setting up a rev strat, which would cause a 3.360. So this cannot get reversed. If it goes rev strat 15, you have to either flip long or cover. So we'll make mind of that. Refer to SPY, yeah. The only reason I'm going to say it's not recovering yet is because we still have this try on the 5 minute, right? So this can be a triangle layout because the 2 on the 60 determines control, right? So if the 2 down, or if the 60 is 2 down, sellers are in control because it's trending lower with a lower low. So when this goes 3-2-2-1 here after triangle out, that could just smack it right back to low day because the 60 is still going down. It's a matter of, does that change what's happening here? Because we're currently a doji at low day. We're about 20 minutes into the new 60. We don't got much continuity on it. So like when we say each 60 is a new day, what matters is what is the continuity of that and where are we going? And we just got so many ones on the 60, there's nothing we can do besides maybe Utes, maybe staples, and that's about it. So there's any other stuff in force on the 60. And this is what I want to show you. So the StratBot does this perfectly because it'll show you who's in force, which means who's not doing nothing or who's doing something, right? So you can go in force on the 60 and just look at indexes, and you can see staples, and then it looks like transports, OIH, XOP, which I don't believe are in force signals. I believe they're just continuation. Yeah, so OIH is just continuation. IYT is inside, so it looks like we might have a little bit of a data error in here. Get that over to Tom. Like the 3-2-2-1 or SPY is coming in a little bit. Q's also coming in after slight triangle out on the 5-er, 2 up in red, reclaim of that 5-er high. Utilities, you can see they go inside 5. The question is, if that inside 5 breaks up, it sets up a rev strat and a potential 360. If it were to maybe fail a break, you get it back to the lows. But right now, utility's not looking good on the short side of things because it's a 3-2 down that reclaims. And that is not what a short signal looks like. It looks like staying below 73.68. And on that ad there, I lost like 56 bucks. It's really not that much. 30s pay for that. Monster still cratering a little bit. So not the biggest moves after that stock split, but we'll see if that gets worse. And if we go on Monster, you can gauge the magnitude like so. Broadening formation, boom. Dow Jones to low a day again, still puking in the industrials. So all the inside 60s industrials will be of interest. You can see the staples coming into second 60 pivot target off the 2260. And notice how staples looks just like what IWM did. You go to like a 3 or 4 hour. Notice how it's the exact same thing. Poke up, reclaim, shooter, bang. Take them all out. We call it a 2-2. So if you go to IBM and compare that to XLP on the 60, our setups are always the same. Looks exactly the exact same. The only difference is continuity at this point was slightly different. So you go on to 60, you see the 60 causes the day 60 week to go red here, which is a period of control where the 60 day and week are confirming each other. So that's a good thing, right? You have a period of control. The seller is more aggressive. We cannot identify the monthly buyer from previous, which is what gives us the ability to try and take out all the previous monthly guys in here because we can't identify that they're buying anymore. IWM, when it did that, was a 2-2 on the day with full time frame continuity, which gives it even more evidence, right? And you get to still hold that 2 down, no reversal against. Same with the Dow. This went 2-2, full time frame continuity, no reversal against on the daily. And coming into the bottom of this daily try here. So the setups will always look the same if you're trading it correctly. Utilities do not negate on that inside 5. They go double inside. You see SPY 225er after triangle layouts, send it back to the lows. You can see exactly what's happening. Sell, sell, sell. Trap anyone that buys into the new highs with this slight green continuity, and then try and take them the other way with full time from continuity. And it's just over and over. Just like in the morning. Notice these guys get trapped by all this continuity here. Down. We're trying to do it again. We'll see. VIX 2225ers right back up. So that's big problems there. Staples a puke. XLU closer to 5ers down to reconfirm the 3-2 expansion on the 60. XLU. And that would be another attempt if you're going to try and add to winning position from the 30 there, as it is momentum. And we call them inside bar ads because we prefer to add. And you can see the difference with XLU here compared to Staples is XLU is only day and 60 in control, no weekly continuity. So we just have slightly less evidence here, which is why the long could occur if things were to strengthen up. But for now, they do not. You can see the Dow Jones in there, and it's just 332 and puke. SPY, you can see there's your 225er low a day, bang, takes them out. Here's your try again. So now the question is, are they going to expand this baby and make that bigger, given you have a period of control? Hughes working on that as well, a little stronger still, but Shooter 15 setting up pivot machine gun in 2 minutes on the 30-minute flip to cause an inside 30 with a 15 to break it. Hughes. You're gonna have the same type of look on tech, the shooter 15 tech to break an inside 30, or actually a 2-2-30. Communications are a Momo shoot 30, a little weaker. Semis are an inside bar, a little weaker as well, and shooter 15 as well. So Utes, no fivers down, so does not confirm or negate yet. Double inside. New 30s open. Tech 15 shoots could trigger the 30s. Same with the SMH 15 shoot could trigger a 30. Notice how that's a reversal, which causes a momentum. So the reversal is an entry, the momentum would be an add if it does cause a 30. AVGO would be double inside 30s down in the chips. Same with ADI. ARM is already a 30 down. SMCI is shooter 15 to cause a 3222 with the quarterly inside down in force. Another monthly pivot target at 538. SPY makes a low a day, slight profit taking on the fivers. So they're still doing this micro try. Works off the highs, but we'll see. Might try and do that another time, right? You can see the broadening formation, poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down. Staples still staying down. So very solid winning position on the Utes and the Staples. And I know it's the stronger stuff that we're shortened, but it's a little bit more difficult to get in on those momentum things. I know Dow Jones down. SPY and Qs from the fivers, you got that stuff from the morning, but the 30-60s are going to be where the bigger moves are going to be, hopefully. So I'll see. Qs does take 15 and 30s down. It just doesn't go anywhere right away. It should have gone right away. So you want to be very aware of that. Dow Jones is still at puking. IBM is still an inside 60. SPY did already take low day, so that's good. Qs is still an inside 60 with IBM. Okay. Staples still confirming on the new 30 minutes, 2 down. That gives control to the 60-minute participant who came in and sold on that second 60 of the day to the downside. Which confirms Monster, which did go 2 down. It's not going anywhere right away. Confirms Pepsi, which did go 2 down. Confirms Coca-Cola, which now goes 2 down. And Coca-Cola, you'll see, reclaims the previous range. So what we can say is we can draw the try like this if we wanted to like that. The sub try looks like this in here. So you can see whenever you have a period where you make slight higher lows and not any really big lower lows like this one, the try can be drawn as the sub try. So you can see they make the sub try in here, make the sub try in here, make the sub try in here, etc., etc. So we'd like to see a lower low. We haven't had one in a while, and that's what we're targeting down in here, 66.63, because it's going to cause an outside day down here around 66.70/63, right? IBM watched the 3-2 on the 15, closer to breaking the 30s down to cause a 2 on the 60, inside 30 IBM. That's going to have the potential to reclaim the equilibrium of last month's range, and IBM took its yearly magnitude. So look at this. And we actually mentioned this may occur in the macro video where IBM might not make the new highs and get stuck inside like this, and it did. So if it reclaims this 205.31 IBM, that yearly signal falls out of force and you have no reversals in force to the upside, and that'd be a big problem for any of those buyers. Maybe it goes outside this year to 162. So we definitely want to know about that on a bigger time frame basis. And then with Dow Jones, this will cause a rev strap month below this, 390.70 in the Dow. So if you created a winning position yesterday from all the tweets or from the stat trading stream, notice all these guys are in trouble, Dow Jones. So we have all of this range to go after with pretty high confidence that that can occur once we go 2 down next week to 3-2. IBM goes 30s down with the 15.32. Staples, third 60 pivot target taken out. Closer to going outside day now. In about 24 minutes, we'll exhaust the 62-2 reversals on the Staples. Monster to the lows. Amazon. Let's see. Amazon inside 60. So what's the next 2 would be your question. It's nowhere near an outside day, so we'd only be able to target high a day, and then after that, we don't know. So on Coca-Cola, I'm up 22% using the 69 put, which was at the money, or actually slightly out of the money. Or no, it was in the money. My bad. Monster, not the biggest move. I used the 50 put, which is still slightly out of the money, but we'll see. And I was able to snag a little bit of IBM earlier on that 15, but it's only 20%. All the stuff from yesterday is just crazy percentages. So good on that. 332 30s or 15ers SPY. 225er SPY still good. It's the bottom of the 3, so it's a momentum 3-2. But this is your broad information for sure on the SPY because it's 3-3. We know that for sure. The Utes did end up breaking the 5 or lower, reconfirming 3-2 expansion to go to 72.84 Utes. So I apologize, we missed that break, but we did mention those 5ers. SO, the only way that recovers is if it's 2 up, and there's no 2 ups. There was a 3, but that went 3, and then inside 5 back down through it on the 15-minute. So you got broadening information triangle out, and then gave control back to the 60 daily guys. So tech still stays inside with Qs for now. So tech is still trying to strengthen up a tiny bit, but the next 2 will tell us. And then the way this works with Coca-Cola, so you make the winning position here, right? Now let's say it closes at 60 and then it goes 2 down again. What does that do? Well, it would cause a 3-2 on the 2-hour chart, which is why we add to winning positions, because a reversal causes more reversals to occur, right? So if this works, we can add to it again to go outside day. We'll just have to be aware that the XLP staples will pretty much be an outside day at that point. It could still become a 3 on the week again, because it went 3 to the upside and then it's coming 3 to the downside again. And you are reclaiming this weekly try like this, so it could start going for those guys next week, but we'll see. Pfizer's really wish we played that 3-2-2-30 to negate the daily continuity or the daily signal, but so be it. Healthcare's, you'll see, how that big 3-2 as well on the 60 and the 30. You can see they slight poke up and then slight poke down, so they completed it. Monster 60-minute short-term exhaustion at 50.5. Monster. Coca-Cola short-term exhaustion on the 60-minute magnitude. Using the strat in the Indian market, dude, I'd love to see some of the trade examples from there. I don't look at the Indian exchanges very much, but if you got a Twitter, tag me. We'll retweet it. Take a look. Because it will work everywhere. So if you're in the Indian market, Asian market, US market, doesn't matter. Currency market, crypto market, it's all the same. You can see gold goes 3 on the gap up sell. That's a bad thing. Silver too. They go 3-2 down there. You can see gold, similar to what the Utes and everything else did. 2-2 shooter, bang, outside bar. You see every outside bar is going to start 2 up in red first, then take them out. While the market's puking a little bit, Nvidia's still kind of firm. NXPI is pretty firm, so all the chips for the most part. We'll have about 20 minutes, and then we'll start chatting about those 60 signals. SPY, you had your first 5 against from the bottom of the trine here, so you can see poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down, trying to poke up. Is the buyer strong enough, though? Notice continuity stays very red here. So that could be last poke up and then try and puke it. So I had a question about the staples. This was a while ago, right on the 60 flip. How are you factoring in? Don't have to be the first one in. I wasn't. They tried to buy in the morning and then they flipped it red. So the first guys in are actually losing, right? So we're coming in and we're just saying, well, if I was one of those guys that bought in the morning above this breakout and I saw this go 2 to the downside, would I be getting out and selling right now? I would, right? Even if I was long before. So I'm going to go and short that because that's the same exact setup. It's just I'm the winning side of that instead of the losing side, right? Hep C is about to hit 60-minute magnitude. I know it's not the most extravagant stuff there, but they're doing it. And for those of you, so a lot of you may be like, I missed the whole move. Oh my gosh, it's just gonna go without me, blah blah blah. We have so many outside weeks this week. We can go and short any of these 3-2 down next week, any of them. So we'll have the regional banks, we'll have IBM 3-2, we'll have Dow Jones 3-2, SPY will be continuation with the month in force. Qs will have the month in force. Semis are a 3-2 month right now, so you didn't miss on that. It's still going. You got all month. So like across the board, you're gonna have that. Same with the materials sector, the industrial sector, the transports. Everything's a 3, which also means if we were to reclaim these next week, they could just straight up recover. Not that I would want that to occur, but when you have 3s, they're broadening formations. So you may be like, I missed it. You didn't. This is the first move, and then the rest of the move comes when it goes 3-2. The Utes are back to low day again. Staples are inside 5 at the lows, first inside bar since the 60 went in force. Yeah, we got all month. And this is why we love the strat, because once the VIX looks like this, every single 60 that reverses we can play across the whole market, because the 60s are going to have such a big range, even if they don't have continuity on them. How can you tell a failing breakout? Continuity. Did it change continuity, or is continuity still good? Did it take signals out of force, or are those signals still in force? So like, how do we know IBM's a failed breakout? 2-2 reversal with full time from continuity down. That's a failure. That's what it looks like, right? Whereas when it broke up before and here, did you have a 2-2 day? You did not. Successful breakout. So it's as simple as, did it stay above those highs or not? And after it did that, did it reverse or did it stay good? So like, let's say IBM went 2 up like shooter like this, and then a 1, still good, right? Never reversed. But if it went 2 up and then 2 down, that reversed, PMG. Marion B, I did not see your question. Yeah, we got all month. Staples inside 5 up, first sign of recovery. There's your reduction, right? The Utes are still having trouble with their 3-2, so just mind the fact that that 3-2 isn't really going. You just cover. And we know that the opportunity cost of sitting in trades that aren't moving, especially in the VIX is high, is super high. So we don't want to stick in things that don't go right away. This also could mean that we may 3-2 the VIX on the next 60 flip. So we'll just be aware of that. A reversal actionable or not? If it's a reversal, you can play it. Yeah, it's a reversal. An actionable signal is different. An actionable signal is shooter, hammer, inside bar, rev strat, 3-2 hammers or shooters, rev strats, etc. A 2-2 reversal is still a reversal. It's just not an actionable signal in the same sense. Because a 2-2 reversal cannot be deemed that it should reverse the next day, unless it's a 2 up in red shooter or just 2 up in red in general for a compound 3. So if we go to like LSCC, is this a 2-2 reversal on the day? Yesterday? It is, right? You can play that. But do you know that's going to happen the day before? You don't. All you know is that it was going up and then it reversed down. Whereas if we look at something like IBM with the actionable 3-1-2 shooter counter rev strat signal, that's an actionable signal because we can expect the next day that move is going to happen. And we can specifically say we're going to short here and it's going to go take this, 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 and this out. And then it does. You see like QCOM. This is a 2-2 reversal. We can short it. Do we know that was going to happen though? We did not. So we couldn't prepare for that. This 2 up in red here, can we short that? Yeah, it's 2 up in red. You actually have potential 3 for the compound 3, where these 2 bars go outside of this. You see the 2 up in red in here? Yep, compound 3. 2 up in red in here, compound 3. So when we get these 2-2s where we don't have at least 2 up in red or shooters or hammers, whatever it is, we just can't know what's going to happen the next day, unlike actionable signals. And our signals cause movement. So when we see a rev strat paired with a shooter, we have a high expectation of volatility and movement in the future. which you can see how that works. Go to Dow Jones, you can expect that, right? Now a SPY, do we have a signal going to today? No, but we had a 3, which shows aggression. So you can see they bought up and sold down here, and they bought up and sold down here. So the seller is aggressive here and here, and then the 2 causes this to resolve lower with no gap fill since they couldn't reclaim yesterday's lows. How often do signals fail? Not sure. It depends on what you're trading. Are you trading with conflict or are you trading with full time from continuity? Because if you have and we say this, some people only trade rev stress. If you have a 1-2-2 with full time from continuity, there's zero reason it should fail, which is why I shorted with like $1,600 of IDBM puts the other day. And I pretty much held them, almost all of them right into this low. I think I partialed like 50% and then swung some of the winner because it's full time from continuity down. And Dow Jones was the same thing. We talked about that all yesterday. We said we want to hold winning positions after we create them. And we've been saying that a lot. Not sure how many people were listening. What is the continuity indicator called? This is a private one, so you're not going to be able to use it. The only one that we have that's similar is TFO. If anyone knows PineScript and thinks they can just recreate this simple indicator, I will pay you $100 to do it, as long as I can have all the source code and post it myself. So SPY still sticking around the lows for now. Inside 5's back down. Q's still chopping them up. Hasn't reversed that 15, so they did 2-2 and they're still going down. They're just inside on the 60. And then Dow Jones still puking. IDBM back to low day with the 30s in force. Staples still pulling off the low slightly. We'd like to see that be corrective activity on the staples. We're definitely going to mind all those outside bars on the staples. We got 9 minutes till new 60s. So Bitcoin, they attempted to get that day to the upside, but they failed to put the hammer in force. And hammers are inherently not bullish or bearish. The only thing that's bullish or bearish is if it's reversing above that. So when this goes up and then fails to do it, what it tells you is the buyers who attempted to do this and buy this hammer, which caused this big wick to form, they tried it up and then the sellers came back again with full time from continuity and took them out. So going to be a problem there with no signal in force. And you'll see the week is red, the month is red. So at this point, it is going stuck. And see, this is the previous range. They're right dead in the middle of it. So anyone short the Dow Jones, once we take this month down below 390.26, if you're short from yesterday from Twitter or from the stats, 390.26 is the ad, right? And you can take that ad as a reason to go into further dated strikes, especially if you're playing like 0DTE or next week's contracts on the daily break yesterday. And then IDBM, same deal. So adds to IDBM will occur below last month's lows for the RevStrat pivot machine gun. And this is why we say the move's not over yet. We could take all these guys out to 187.54 in IDBM still. Staples, Fiverr sets up a 2-up in red. $15 is still staying good on XLU, 2 down, 1. So they haven't reversed that yet, but haven't really got it going yet. Next 15 occurs on the 60 flip in 7 minutes. So in 7 minutes, we'll have new 15s, new 30s, and new 60s opening up. And we still see NVIDIA green on the day. So some natural buying occurring in the NVIDIA, at least a little bit of it. Potentially AVGO as well with a 1-3 on the 30s. So a few of the semis are trying to strengthen up. It looks like they go 30s inside up in the SMH. You'll have the inside 15 staples to go 2-hour 3-2. Unless it goes right to low day, we'll see. Qs will be an inside 60. XLK will be inside 60. SMH will be inside 60. So mind those inside bars. That's going to be your next set of actionable signals. AMD strongest. Yeah, it's an inside day. We'd ideally want to go after 2s up, but I don't think we have many of those, right? Low rev strat week through daily PMG. Yep. And it's in, I believe, the industrials, or at least I know it's home building, which we can see home builders also inside bar on the 60. It's inside month bright red and a 3 on the week. Doesn't have much magnitude on that weekly to take out right away. It's like we missed the 3-1-2 in Myrna. Dow Jones still good on the 15 and down. That occurred simultaneously with all the tech and the Qs. And this is why we say we hold winning positions and cut losing positions. So like Dow Jones, if you took that and you took XLK short and you took Qs because it simultaneously went 15s and down, right? Maybe even took the utilities, right? So you take all of them. Notice you hold the utilities because the 15 stayed good, or maybe you reduce and that 3 goes back in, but you're still in. And then if you're in tech and you did what we said with the NVIDIA and everything, you break even, it just stops you out for no loss. So we have the best strategy where you can take everything and hold the ones that keep going, because what we say is the market will tell you the winners and losers. Like, did I know IBM would be an amazing winner? I had a itching, right? I was like, IBM, this looks like a great short. But once it actually shows me that, it's like, okay, we're down $8, $9, $10 on the day. At that point, it's like it's just nowhere near reversing that day. So there's no reason to exit all that position or any of it really if you didn't want to. But great example of how that works. And same with the staples, right? With the 30, you just hold it. Maybe you grab the 60, just hold it. And we'll see if that 15 breaks up or down. And then we'll have the Coca-Cola 15er. Pepsi is Momo shoot at the lows at 60 magnitude. And just to show an example for anyone that wasn't trading yesterday, so you can see that very beautiful 15 on the Dow. That same thing happened on IBM yesterday here. We mentioned it on the 5-minute right there. Boom, short. Every fiver went 2 down until right here. And it's the easiest trading in the world when this VIX is high. So this is just great. All right, with 3 minutes to go, Utes does go 2 down again. So it's also going to be momentum shooter into the flip with the staples. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the YouTube chat or premium chat. I can get to both. Qs, yep. Q's is inside 60, up or down into the flip. We want to know about that because it can change control or confirm what we know to be true. You're going to have Q's inside. You'll have IDBM or no, never mind. You'll have tech inside, and you'll have SMH inside. These are also the relatively strong sector as they did not take the morning low on the second 60 of the day. But almost everything's a 2 down, so how are you changing that, right? Netflix is a 3-2 day, 2 down continuation week, and back into the weekly broadening formation Netflix. Where's it going? Potentially down there, right? 541. So you've got a lot of range to go. You just don't got signals here on the week. On the month, you'll have a 3-2 back into a 3. So anytime Netflix is below 617.00, you're short trying to target this stuff. And 3-2s should just go. They shouldn't really meander too much. So what we'd want to see is like maybe they do grind it down today and then some slight triangle layout and get that puking down into this stuff. If we can get those 2 downs next week, that's what it's all hinging on. Which trade would we take? Well, the thing is we would want to be taking ads. So like inside 15 down staples, you want to add to those. It's like maybe Coke and Pep. And the reason we add is because it's their money, right? So you can double your position on Coke without risking any of your money because you're already deep in the money or deep in profit. So this is how we make big winning positions. Because if Coke is going to go outside day, it still has a lot to go, right? And we can gauge that magnitude. Now, let's say it were to break this 15 and then start coming back in a bit. You just get rid of the ad, maybe reduce some of your position to pay for a slight stop out, but then keep holding it. See if it comes back and you get another ad. And this is also applying to Monster and Pepsi and anything else we've mentioned in there. Monster down, right? Pepsi down, puke. You'll see the 2 hour 3-2 on Pepsi. That's a problem right there. Give them the puke to the face, please. Dow Jones starts as an inside 60, SPY starts as an inside 60, Qs starts as double inside, Tech starts as double inside, Semis start as double inside, closer to 2 up, but no good continuity. So it's coming from the bottom of the range, just day and 60 participants in the semis in here. You'll see the try looks something like this. So they still are nowhere near reclaiming that. It could be closer if it breaks up, but we'll see. You see on that flip how some things start to go slightly green. The Utes and Staples do stay down on the flip, reconfirming. So those things stay good. NVIDIA is closer to 60s up. It's going to be one of the stronger chips because it's not below those previous lows. It's reclaiming. So 60 up NVIDIA. If you're going to try any longs, you could try that, but it's only a 60 signal, so you get 60 minutes to see if that works. You don't have much evidence there, so it's kind of iffy. Maybe not. It's going to be one of the stronger ones there. SMH does go 60s up, so you get simultaneous break with NVIDIA there. Above, looks like 107 just about. Yeah, 106, like 28. And your stop, we'd want it at the low of that 60. We don't want to let that go against us. Coke on the 15 ad makes lows, and then we'd break even the stop, and now we're trading with their money. And if it works, we get another 1.75%, or maybe even more, 1.2%. Monster after low a day, slight exhaustion wick, but we'll see if it's micro triangle layout or not. IBM is 15 or hammer off low day, some small triangle layout starting there. SPY is 2-2 back up off low day, some small triangle out. So they firm up, and that's why you can go after NVIDIA. Market firms up a little bit. It should give you at least a little spike in there, but I can't guarantee it's going outside day or anything. And if we go in here, we can scan 60s in force with full time from continuity. This is where the true buying is occurring. And it's really MAA and MSI. Those are the only 2 things. And MSI is a mess. It's a potential outside 60. It's a decent range, but eh. And then Looks like MAA is to the downside. So we have no 60s with full time frame continuity up, which means this is going to be retracement, at least on most things, or at least corrective activity, we would say. Doesn't mean you can't trade it, though. Pepsi, Coke, puke. Is it obvious? It should be. Broad information on Seoul. Why am I getting so many damn phone calls this morning? Hartford, Wisconsin. Don't know anyone from there. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. NVIDIA high a day. Hopefully I wasn't muted too long there. I got a phone call like a couple seconds ago. But NVIDIA high a day, do your reduction by half and keep a stop even, or just keep your stop even. But we have less evidence that should continue. So each 60 is important there. We do have the semis simultaneous break with NVIDIA with the tech. So you can give them time of day, but don't let it go red. And when you have a simultaneous break, the way we manage the risk there is we say, as long as this doesn't reverse on the 60 basis, it's still good, as we have a lot of evidence where tech, semis, and NVIDIA all break in the same direction. If we scan Inforce in the tech, you got 28 tech stocks recovering on this 60, which tells us they're going and buying 28 tech names all at once. You can see the hammers in here are going to be the actionable signals. Everything else will be inside or a 2-2 reversal. The inside bars will be relative strength. So we can specifically pick out that it's mostly semiconductors. So we can look at NVIDIA, we can look at SMCI, we can look at AMD, which hasn't broken yet. We can look at NXPI, which hasn't broken yet. We can look at Marvel, which is already on its way. Intel on the gapper list, already on its way a little bit. AVGO is coming up, similar to NVIDIA. LRCX is a hammer 60 off the lows. AMAD is an inside 60 up. So we have a lot of evidence there just for this 60. So up goes NVIDIA. And while that's occurring, Staples inside 5 is getting slightly greener. So just be aware of that. You may have to be out of that. If the 60s change continuity, we have to reduce or exit. At the very least, reduce. But NVIDIA nailed the low right there. So get your stop in there, let it rip. And so when we're looking at something like Qs, we can say it is breaking up, but we don't buy the Qs. Why? Because we want the stuff green on the day. Ideally a 2-up, we just don't have any today, which means it's going to be difficult to make this stuff turn around. Less likely we get this big rally that some people may want. But since this breaks up and you're nowhere near stopping out these morning guys, this is more likely to rev strat because you're inside. If you go on the 2-hour time frame, notice that inside 60 breaks during an inside 2-hour. What do we know occurs when you're inside on a higher time frame? We know that potentially you get that new broadening formation. So when we look at the Qs, you have this slight lower low in here, and you have this slight higher high during the higher time frame inside bar. So you just got to be very aware of that. If they're going to keep going, they have to keep a 60 in force, or else they're coming and reclaiming this try. Monster rev strat 15, so it's going to cause a cover. And you can leave running positions there if you're fine with that. Just make sure you don't let green go red. The Utes are still staying good on the 15s, 30s, and 60s, no 2s up. NVIDIA, after high day, goes inside fiver. This is how you know if the breakout's going to be true or not. Does it go inside up momentum and keep going, or does it go inside down and fail? Or maybe it goes slight higher high and then rev strat and fail. At this point, 60 is still good. See that 5-minute try on broad or try on SPY? Working out nicely if you're trading this little action in here, but you can see even today at $3, right? This is why each 60 is so important. Right on the new 60, you can make $2 just on the SPY there. It's crazy stuff. NVIDIA reconfirming potentially closer to breaking 2 up on the fiver. It does. So they're up and above those morning highs once again. NVIDIA, that's good. You're starting to sell off some of the VIX. 3,215 down on the VIX intraday. 2,230s down on the VIX intraday. 2 up and red on the 60. So intraday continuity VIX coming back in a little bit. And this is causing that market to firm up. And NVIDIA is starting to blast through them a bit. So that's a good thing. Up $2, 2% so far. AVGO takes morning highs, stopping out the morning shorts. You also have QCOM taking the morning highs, 2 down in green on the day. So NVIDIA, QCOM, AVGO, maybe ADI. All of those are strengthening up a bit in the chips. NVIDIA is the strongest I can really see. And the same thing applies to the semis. If they're too weak to make high a day, then this 2 hour is still inside and that could come back in. So you just got to be watching those fivers closely. And this is simply because we don't have higher time frame continuity. You got to watch that a lot closer. SPY became outside 60. SPY, bottom or top of the broadening formation, SPY, triangle layouts. See a slight higher high in here. Range just got slightly bigger. Dow Jones is still so weak, setting up a 222 momentum 15er potentially. You're in VIX puts. It's kind of difficult to say to do that. The fact that it's like you can say SPY's in 2 up 60 now, so you can do that, but unless SPY stays that way, just got to be careful. But for now, SPY 30-minute, we mentioned this 2230. Yep, magnitude hits, right? Simple. Then you go on the 60, 2260 now. So if it stays above that, it's trying to take high a day with magnitude on the 60. And that would be the gap down buy potentially coming in on this third 60 of the day SPY. Magnitude to change day and 60 continuity to agree with each other. And staples are double inside 5 at the lows for now. Coke is 2225er reconfirming. For now, Pepsi goes inside bar. Monster is still rev stratting that 15. DXCM, nice. Yeah, interesting looking try here. Could go expansion, but what would it take out would be our question if we look left. Oh, baby, look at that. Way to take them out, DXCM. Boom, boom. Did we know about the simultaneous break in the tech? We did. NVIDIA's still good. 106 to 109 nearly. We like to see it, don't we? All right. New 15's open. They'll either confirm or negate what we know to be true about this 60-minute candle. SPY is a 2260 in force. Qs is an inside 60 in force. Dow Jones is a 1. IBM is a 22. So 3 of the 4 indexes have changed 60 control to the buyers currently. And for now, staples, we still don't see that recovering. Utilities do have a hammer 15, but they haven't gone anywhere. So first 15 against in the Utes since the morning, 15 down with the 30 down. And now NVIDIA with the 60 reclaims the 3. So guess what? Anyone short NVIDIA yesterday, they're in trouble, right? Because if your stock gaps down and is now bright green back above yesterday's lows, anyone short into this stuff is starting to see their profit dissipate, right? And now we're long against those guys because we know to trade back through a previous range. So NVIDIA reconfirms the 15. You could literally try and add on that. Personally, I'm not going to do that, but we want to see if that can get moving. Next pivot target's around 110 on NVIDIA. We'll see. We do see tech 2 up in red fivers, so they're starting to do some corrective activity against that 60. It's hard to say because the day is a doji in tech and everything else is very red. So tech, we're going to have a little more issues there. NVIDIA 2 up in red 15, so you could go and reduce some of that and leave the rest. Utes do have the hammer against in force, so it's your first 15 against still. Changes the 60 continuity in the utilities, 2 down in green with a hammer 15 at low a day. So SPY, slight 2 up in red fiver. We still want to be aware of this try in here. We go to continuity here. We can do 60-day week month, and we can also do intraday. Is there any way I can put this at the top of the chart on my, I know it's called a lower study, I wonder. We can see on SPY. So if this fiver went 2-2, you'd have the 15 and 5 day, week, and month all in control against the 60 and 30-minute participation group. So you have a lot more selling going on in there than you do buying, which is what makes this potential long really more risky. But we'll see. The VIX is still 32.2 down, hitting its magnitude now after the 3.215. So VIX is still pulling off the highs, which does help out. Staples are negating their first 15 of the 60, going 2-2 against. Staples, first 15 reversal since the 2-2 at high day. So Staples, mind that. Monster does have a rev strat. Has not triggered that though. Coke is still an inside bar. Pepsi still an inside, or maybe a 2 down in green on the 15. NVIDIA does reclaim the morning highs. So again, if you didn't reduce, you have to do that. Fibers change in 1 minute here could cause some 225ers on the indexes. All of them are kind of the top of their fiber try minus the Dow Jones. It is countering the 60 group. Or it would be countering the 60 group for control. Dow Jones does go 2230, which firms it up a little bit. Staples on the 2-2 start recovering with the 2 down in green 60. So you can see any attempts at ads, you just cut it and then take your money from the previous positions to pay for the slight loss on the attempted ad. So after NVIDIA made high a day, they're still doing some profit taking. Right at yesterday's lows on NVIDIA, they're retesting those. See Monster on the rev strat 15 to exit or reverse. Does take out its nearby pivot targets. So SPY, Qs, IDBM, I'll go inside Fiver on the flip. It could still become 2-2s back down, so I want to be careful of that. NVIDIA 225 off high a day, so they triangle out the morning guys. Now they stop out some of these tight stop guys in here, but it's 225 or down, changing control. 15, 5 day and week, so it's kind of conflicted here. Those 60 day or 30, 60 and day are green, while the week and month 15 and 5 are red. So they're trying to bring it back in off these morning highs and change that. So small win, nothing crazy. 225 or SPY from the top of the broadening formation, 532. Same with Qs. IDBM went 322. And we'll have to see if we can get. We're going to get more puke in the staples. We'd have to see that also go fibers back down to try and give us additional entries to try and get it going again, but we'll see. You see XLP, they went 12215er, took out the 15-minute highs, so these two bars got out of that. RevStrat caused the formation of that new broadening formation. And this is what it looks like on a lower time frame. NVIDIA on the 5-minute, they are trying to hold that previous high a day. They might set up a 2 down, 2 up. So they're going to attempt to reconfirm. Maybe SMH does that. Maybe the SPY, maybe Hughes. So we'll see. I wonder if there's any 322s on this flip that we missed out on. It's like FSLR. ISRG in the healthcare's 322 ISRG just triggered. Netflix also did that 322, which recovers last month's lows. There's a few, nothing crazy though. It's like CI in the healthcare is also a 322. So you got a few healthcares doing that. Not all of them though. Marvel inside 15 measured move to potentially take out high at day if they're going to try and get the chips going still. Semis are still stuck in their morning mother bar. Inside 60, 2 bars inside, but a pattern in force for now. Buying cues, going back to Doji Fivers. Retriggering Fivers down on a few of those indexes with 1 minute to go. Maybe able to get a fiver on like Coca-Cola to try and take out low a day again. New fives open. Does it confirm that 2-2 reversal SPY or does it negate it? It's currently closer to just being a 1. Coca-Cola is breaking a 5 down, so they're trying to reconfirm a staples and negate the 60 back to red. NVIDIA goes potentially 222 fiber. Semis are also trying to do similar. Tech are also trying to do slightly similar. So if you wanted to try and add back to get more on NVIDIA, you could do it on a 5 minute there. It'd be setting up momentum 15. In 5 minutes, we'll get the new 30 flip, and that will either confirm or negate the first 30 of the 60. Most things that have broken, like NVIDIA, could be closer to reconfirming. Then you'll have ARM and other inside 15ers. So ARM is an inside bar, Marvel is an inside bar. Maybe you could get AMD off the inside bar 131. It's still an inside day though. So NVIDIA is still going to be one of the better chips in there as far as I can tell. Oh, sorry about that. Sol USD, is that what you're looking for? So Sol, whenever you have an outside month like this, that's broadening formation. Boom, boom, draw it out. You go on the week, when you have an outside week, that's broadening formation too, draw it out. And once you drop down to the 60, you know exactly what your try is going to look like so. Bang, bang. So you can see they're stuck in here, poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down, poke up, poke down, big poke up, big poke down, and now they're sitting right at the lows of it for now. There we go on the day. You see this is all stuck inside, but they poked down and poked up, caused this try and here stuck inside of this range. So your question is, does it expand this try to take these guys out, or do they recover this? You'd have to go like daily 2-2 and then try and take those guys out. And since the week is a 3, next week will be 3-2, up or down, or maybe an inside bar. Most likely be 3-2 down, but Dow Jones is still, or not Dow Jones, IWM 222 reconfirms the 60-2-2 and the 30-minute rev strat in force. NVIDIA on the 2-2 add back gets you back in. If you're trying to do that, you'll have a 2 down and green 10 minute into the flip, which it looks like a momentum 15. And this flip's going to be important. And the reason these flips are important is because, as you can see, the only evidence of buying we actually have, it's going to be the intraday participation group, which changes every 60 minutes. So this 60 participation group is a buyer. The first 2 are sellers, right? And we can see the day, the week, the month, the quarter, they're all red. So every 60 will either confirm the buyers, which we only have the 60 for evidence in the intraday participants, or it will negate and give you full time frame continuity down. So right on the flip, if that changed to red, that's a problem, right? Everyone has to be short or get short because all those guys are going to come back and sell again if it's red. Now it's closer to going 2 up, so we'll see. Obviously, those fivers did reconfirm, making the slight higher high, but they're making the new high into the flip. So when you pair new highs plus the flip, or new lows plus the flip, that's where you get the poke up and then crater if things change. So you just got to be very careful here. And then we'll see staples are actually closer to recovering. The Utes have a hammer on the 60. We'll see. We'll scan and see how many are doing that. So on the staples, you could try Country Western, which is where you short it, and then you flip long and use their money that you just made against them. On the 60 flip, it's up to you because it's very conflicted. New 60 flip, new continuity. Or new 30 flip, my bad. New 60s are 30 minutes from now. I apologize. And all that means is that the two down hammers are going to be on the 30, not the 60 minute. Does not mean it's bullish, though. They'd have to go in force. Because utilities could go 222, and that'd be momentum to the downside on the 15. NVIDIA opens inside 15 stuck. Also inside 30 at high day NVIDIA. So no reversals unless that goes 2230, which means you can have break even stop in there still. Looks like we got a good amount of inside bars, materials, financials, industrials, closer to 2 up though. You get 32.2 in the staples potentially, which changes that intraday continuity and gives control back to the monthly guy, technically intraday, but we'll see. Still at 2 down 60. See, SPY on the new 30s does change to slightly red and inside 5, closer to nothing. Am I going in and out? Let me know. Is my voice going in and out or no? How can you change the time to aggregation on the futures? The only change you can make to the aggregation on the futures is you can what's it called? You can turn off extended hours and you can do regular trading hours, and then the ES will look like a SPY chart if you do that. Sounds fine. Okay. Took your profits this morning on Intel. Did you play Intel from the monthly video? Personally, I didn't, but man, what a beauty. It goes right into the magnitudes you're looking for. Everything we marked out. And you had this nice inside day, which caused that all prior to earnings. And you know, if it drops 5% before earnings, you can create a winning position in there and hold it. Any good strats to focus on the morning open? Look for the good morning try. Or like what we do is, so we know if you watch my scanning video, as time goes on, you gain evidence, right? So the first fiver of the day, 5 minutes coupled together. Second fiver decouples, right? And now it's decoupled. Then it negates, then reconfirms what the first fiver did, just negates this one, and back down. So over time, you're going to gain evidence. And this simply means at the open, you're trading the oneers, the 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, and then you're moving into the 15, 30, 60 as the day goes on. So at the open, what you're looking for on a gap down is exactly this. We're talking about it this morning. We don't short into new low a day. We can't do that. We have to short a reversal, such as this 225 minute off high a day. And then when it reconfirms here, we say, okay, that's going to make low a day. Then you can see they do, and then it doesn't reverse, so it keeps going. So this is what we call the good morning try, where they make new highs and then new lows, and then notice right here, expansion of the range. And then down they go. And then since that broad information here expanded, they form a new one in here. Boom, 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 boom. So what we're always looking for is going to be something like this. So if it's a gap down, we want to look for it to go initially down first, then back up, and then all the way down. So we want it to go down, Want to see him stop some guys out and then give us the big broadening formation like this. So you'll notice we can look for this higher high to form and then expect a lower low. On a gap down, we can also look for, if it's a really aggressive seller, we can look for this big move lower, inside bar, momentum, right? This is more risky though, because you're selling into recent lows instead of selling a reversal. We can then also look for on a gap down, if they go down big in the morning, let's say they go down for the first couple hours, if it reverses later in the day, all those shorts can get blown out because then you complete this try. So you can see we're always going to look for something like this, or we're going to look for something like this, ideally, because we get broadening formations in both of this. The risky one is when you get something that looks like this, because you're selling recent lows in here. And you're also at risk of a rev strat after a low a day, because this could, instead of doing this, it could go rev strat and then take out the highs and then give you the broadening formation. So you can see how that works. And this works the same on the gap ups. So we can identify to make a new low is a gap down, 2 down, make recent highs, reverse, then the slight lower low. Here's your 3 broadening formation, and then it gets bigger. And now they're retesting it right up in here. If we go to something like yesterday, you can see they go into new highs, top of this broadening formation. It could have kept going, right? But it reversed. 2-2 here, you have to flip short. Down they go. So we're always looking for it to go one way and then change direction to give us that little broadening formation. If you go like a 5-minute, what did they do in here? You can see the momentum, right? Go up, sideways, up. That's momentum. Prefer not to buy that. Then 2-2 reversal in here, 2-2 reversal in here. Momentum down to take a low a day in here. Pokes up, pokes down, and then boom, expansion. So this is going to happen every morning. And on days where it's really chopping around, what you'll be able to identify is that the range does form. So like on this gap up in the SPY, slight lower down, slight lower low, slight higher high. Here's your morning range. So it forms, does expand, retests it, tries again, high a day. And then you'll see later in the day, you get that sideways move. So they formed another try in here, then stuck. Notice they didn't take the low or the high out for a while. Really stuck in here, and then poke down, and then boom, other side. And they also do get stuck in here eventually. Stuck, stuck, stuck. And poke up, and then other side. So just looking for that broadening formation in the morning can give you things like NVIDIA, which we talked about in the 60, and we talked about it right here, and it's reclaiming 102.78. So you can see it does go up first and then 5ers down. You could short that to give you this try, which it does. All these go outside of that. But once it starts going 2-2 in here, it's back through that 3, right? So at that point, we expect to try and take that out. We did. And now we have another try like this. Just got bigger. So now the question is, does that change control or does it stay good up here? Since it's inside 30, it's neither confirming or negating. We have to wait. Staples on the 2230 do get moving. So the country western to short and then flip long. You got some of that on Coke, some of that on Pepsi, some of that on Monster with the 3-2, a little more aggressive. So play it both ways because Strat doesn't care as long as it's moving. Dow Jones is still coming up. IDBM is inside, stuck. SPY is still at 2260 in force and still confirming that at this point. Hughes still a 60 in force, inside 15. You hit an 8,500 trade on Intel. Beautiful. What did you take it on? You take it on that daily signal or just the monthly break? I mean, we really killed it with that monthly video. Just that short on the new month pays for any losing trades you take this month, unless you're doing something really stupid. And now you trade all month with their money. You got nothing to worry about. NVIDIA did go 15 off the highs, PMG down. So watch that try, right? If you go to SMH, notice fails to make high day. So it's rev stratting the 60 with the 15er to set it up. 2-2 reversal. That's what we call country western, where If you play NVIDIA up and then it changes what you know to be true, you can take their money, short it back down because you already made money with the partial right up at the highs and the 2 up in red fiver, right? Um, and then if that works on the 15, you don't have to go super big, right? Just a few contracts. If that works on the 15, you can short the 62. And if that works, you go into full time frame continuity down, and that'd be an issue for them. You'd have rev strats on semis, you'd have rev strats tech, you'd have rev strats Qs, all into full time frame continuity down, which is a winning trade every time, as far as we're concerned. And then what we would say is anything that didn't take the morning highs, which would be like Marvel, MU, weakness, Intel weakness, right? So anything not doing that, ARM not doing that either. So we can call that weakness, and it's up to you if you want to play the weak stuff or the stuff that, like NVIDIA, that's a little bit stronger. SPY, RebStrap fiver at the highs, PMG. Hughes, 225er as well, back into that little 5-minute try. And does not change 60 continuity, but it's trying to set up inside 30s to cause a RevStrat 60. Dow Jones went 2-2 as well. IWM 2-2 as well. Staples are still a little stronger. See, technologies are 15s down with the NVIDIA. Setting up our RevStrats. Did we know? We did. NVIDIA 15 magnitude hit on the flip. You'll see NVIDIA that causes 2 up, 2 down 30-minute reversal, causing that 60 to now flip green to red after exhaustion risk on that 60 magnitude. Now the question is, since this 15-2-2 causes or creates a 3, these two outside of that, can we expand that or not in about 20 minutes when the new 60s change? Took down the daily break. Nice. It takes some cojones. How much did you hold into that? Like, what was your risk on the options there? Like, did you go out of the money, or were you, like, what were you doing? I don't personally, like, I'll play earnings only if I have winning positions normally. Or if, like, I have a really big week or something, make a lot of money, then I can throw some of that into the earnings. And a lot of times they do hit, like, not every time, but a lot of times. Especially so we're just messing about SPY, or messing about conflicted 2 up in red on the 30s and inside 30s on a lot of the indexes. Dow Jones is still holding a little stronger than the rest, staying inside or staying green 60 30s. Like the NVIDIA 15er, just be aware you've hit that 15 magnitude, so you have to play defense on that. You don't want it coming back. We do not hold losing trades. It's the most important part, second to the broadening information, in my opinion. So Marvel went 15s down with NVIDIA. MU is like already a 3 on the 60, so a little weaker. Intel is rev strat in the 62 up in red. ARM is not red yet, but it's trying. SMH is about red. It's pretty close. And you can see when that 15 occurs during the inside 2 hour, if it starts taking these guys out, you could take all of these guys out, right? Because anyone buying this breakout in here becomes underwater when we start reclaiming around like 218.34-ish. So hopefully we can see that occur. We got another 15er coming, so they could go inside. We'll want to be aware of that. And then we have another 60 flip. This is the last one I think I'm going to stay on the stream for, as things are starting to slow down a little bit. But we could have some 2-2s back into continuity on something like SPY. And what we can say is this 5-minute try. So you can see the rev strat 5 occurs. That causes a 3. Now the question is, are we going to expand this up or down? Because if we can't, nowhere near stopping out the morning shorts, nowhere near stopping out the morning longs. Sorry, I'm like hiccuping. So we want to see that stay down here, get to the bottom of this try and stay at the bottom of it. Or else we may start this, you can see this new price discovery, which might take a little bit before we can take out high a day or low a day. As you can see, this try doesn't get big enough to do that until way back out in here if we can't get out of it. So you can see chop, 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 chop if they can't. A lot of inside 15s on all the chips, so next 2 will be important. Staples staying good, closer to 5ers back inside and up, which would confirm your 30 if you were one of those country western guys on the staples. You see Coca-Cola hits its 30 magnitude, just kind of grinding there. Pepsi not at 30 magnitude yet. Monster's a 3-2, so it does not have a magnitude. Man, if we can just get this semis rev strat, make low a day, I can call it a day. I'd be a happy camper. Played with $400. Very nice risk management. Very good. Staples reconfirm 5 and up. And we call that an inside bar add if you're going to do anything there. And we'll see the next 2 could be 2-2 reversal on the staples, which would firm those up and cause some more rotation or attempts at rotation back into some of the defensive stuff, staples and utilities. So this is why 3s are important. This is a 3 utilities. If this 2-2-60 occurs utilities, it's trying to go up there. And what's the continuity would be your question. Well, you have the day red, week and month green, and then intraday participation green. So if everything's green besides the day, we have no evidence of the daily seller. Therefore, we can come back through that previous range and cause a loss to the daily seller. So we'll have to see what that next 2 is, but it's much closer to being 2 up, about 12 minutes. So that'd be the only other thing besides potentially rev strats and the semis down. You might have the staples industrial or staples utilities up. Bucks. It's an inside day, doing nothing. Inside day, inside month. No thank you. We want to trade directionally. If we go and check the month, we can say who's in force on the month, and this will give you what I'd like to be going after. 93. And notice almost everything's 2 down. Consumer defensive, this is the staples. These are the only things going up. So tack, 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 cyclical, 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 tack, tack, tack. So you can see like PanW took the month and down from the monthly vid. That's a problem, right? Where's it going? Down there, 267, and then timing the breakout of an equilibrium. The way you time it is you draw the broadening formation. So notice mother bar, boom, slight lower lows, slight higher high. Where's it going now? Down in here, and then this will cause that equilibrium, this inside bar of this mother bar, to break, taking this out on Pan W. So that's a good thing to know about going into the rest of the month. And that's from our video. Looks like Boeing and the industrials. We mentioned 3-2 short yesterday. Boom. Did we take out exactly what we were looking for? We did. That was from the yesterday's stream mentioned by Chuck right here at 184, trades 167. We filter by ATR, we can get the bigger movers. Adobe is countering its quarterly signal. 2-2 month to the downside. Autodesk, 2-2 month to the downside. Amazon, we already looked at that one. ARM, we already know about that. Boeing, we already know. CAT, 2-2-2 on the month, causing potential quarter 2-2 back into an outside quarter. Coin, that's a problem. Shooter month could cause inside quarter down. Coin, or actually outside quarter. We already know Qs, Team, TSM, TXN. You'll see TSM 2-2 month, TXN, RevStrat. So you can see NVIDIA on the 15 change after 15 magnitude. They go inside. So we call this retracement, not reversal, but that does cause you to not be in profit, which causes a break even. We'll have to see what this next two is. It has a hammer on the 30 trying to form. If we go to the SMH failed to go 2 down 30, staying a 1. So the next two is important in the semis for us. They'll either go inside 30 up and confirm that 60, which would potentially get a buy moving in the semis, or that 30 will resolve lower and then get the RevStrat going. So up or down, we'll see. Same with the tech. They'll have the materials inside, financials inside, Dow Jones inside. IBM went 2-2 up and is still up there. SPY, you can see on the 5-minute, stays in the 5 retry, so it recovers that, keeping the 60-2-2 to the upside, which means it's going to be closer to 2 up there. So we may have to switch gears here, and this will be the last flip them around. So staples and utilities would be the strongest to go after, but you already should have gotten that change on that 30, the staples. Maybe the utilities, but those will be the strongest on the 60, staples, utilities. If I could get any help in the utilities, we want to look for things green on the day. If you can find any green utilities on the day, that's where we'd want to be. Currently, does not look like we have any green on the day. Do have a lot of these full time from continuity up with a slight red day, though. So if we go and take a look at these daily charts now, what we can say is so far today, we are still 3-2 expansion. So if you're short from before yesterday, then that's fine. We are seeing that seller exhaustion right now, so we're getting a little bit stuck in this morning range. We go on a 2-hour, and you'll see the 2-hour IDBM, we got to get out of that. 2-hour SPY, got to get out of that. 2-hour Qs, you got to get out of that. 2-hour Dow Jones, you got to get out of that. So you might have another hour where this stuff may not be the best. But mind the next 60 will have some 60 signals that could cause those things to recover or at least attempt to. So it's a little lackluster. We'll see. The ones that I'm a little more confident on are the Utes and Staples, just because of those bigger time frames. NEE, yeah, NEE, that's a good one. So you can see here, if every other utility goes 2-2, this would go 2-2 and then have full time frame continuity here to take you up there to 80.54. So NEE is probably going to be the better one in the Staples. Thank you for finding that. Doesn't mean the other ones can't do it, just means that one's going to be the strongest. As we can see that there's some type of buyer there sitting on the bid, or yeah, sitting on the bid down here around 78. So you have more evidence of that. It's not an idea, it's a condition. So if you have a 2 down, like if we go on SPY on the 60 or on the 2 hour, that's retracement on the 60. That's not reversal because it's a 1. That's retracement, not reversal. And that's why it's really important to know. It's very important to know that, because what most people do is they'll take this 30 down. When they see this thing go green, they get all out, right? And they're just like, I'm done. All right, done. It's like, no. This is not a reversal. That's retracement on the oneer. So if you're ever trading and you see it puking, then it goes inside, maybe chops around a bit, pokes up, and then right back down, this is that retracement in here, right? So when we say retracement, what we mean is we haven't actually reversed whoever was previously selling. So they could still be here because they can still be short. So if it pokes up, they might take that as an opportunity to sell it back down. And that's what gives you this inside 60, inside 30 try that forms. It's like when we go on SPY, since we're inside 2 hour, this is the try that forms. So it's a matter of, do they poke up and then give us a sell to try and take that out, which isn't much range, right? Or do they just continue to chop, get stuck in here? So like if you ever seen a big shooter inside bar form, it's because it's retracement, not reversal. And the other thing I can add to that is, so I don't know if I have a good example here today. I guess we could look at the SPY 60 here. So notice, see how it goes up and then right back down. In this case, it was 2 up and then 1. So this didn't reverse down, and we can't say it was retraced. We could say it was retracing this downside move that came down here, but it's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, maybe like right here. So it goes 2-2 reversal, and then here, retracement, not reversal here. And then notice how it hammers. The reason that occurs is because when you have a 1, it's not in control of direction. So each 15 minute, each 30 minute on this 60 is relevant, because that's where the 2s are. So you see the 15 to start the 60 becomes a 1. That's an equilibrium because the inside 60 is inside. That's more likely to fail and come back through it. So you can see they go down for the first half hour of the 60. Second half hour of the 60 opens here at 2:15 p.m. Then it goes green. And notice then the new 30 changes what's occurring. The new 15 changes what's occurring. So the 15 goes green. This is what creates that hammer on the 60. You can see it's a chop shop in here. They go up, down, and then reclaim. This creates the hammer. And then if it's, I don't know if it's going to follow through on that, but then you can see retracement, and then it goes up in there. Like on NVIDIA, this is retracement, as it's not a 2 to the upside, because it's just retracing this move. It's not reversing this move. So if we go in here, it's not saying that this is going to go back down, but we would consider that retracement against that. And you can see in this case, the 15 changes what's occurring to green. Each 5 minute in here goes 2 up, 1. So the 5er is reconfirming the direction of the 15, even though the 15 is inside, which is why it does not come back down here, because the 5er never changed that control. But what I can see is you got some seller exhaustion. If you look at the Dow Jones, this is what we consider seller exhaustion, where it's probably not buying in here. This is more profit taking, causing shorts to take profit from yesterday and from this morning. You can see Staples still good on the inside 5 add here. And notice that 5er, this is retracement, and then it continues higher. And why does that 5er make a lower wick? Because of the 1 minute. So you can see the 5er opens right here, 11:10, down, down, down. Second to last 1 minute, 2 down in green, changes what's occurring, and then 3-2 changes what's occurring, creates the hammer. This inside bar triggers the 5 minute, and then they have a slight triangle out in here, and then up they go. So a lot of different examples of retracement. And the same thing can be said about a 2 down in green. It's not a reversal, it's a rejection of the lows. But you can see when this goes 2 down in green, it's retracing the move. And then right up in here, something went 2 down and gave that 2 down on the 15 control again to go down. So if we go in here, notice the 15 opens here, 3-2. So this is a broadening formation right off the rip, 3-2. This is now a 3 to all this, right? And then another 3, poke up, reversal, did poke up again, reversal again. This gives the 2 down 15 control again to the downside with the 1 minute. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 go 3, 2, 2, 2, then it takes a low again. So far, NVIDIA has not reversed that 15. All right, this is the last 60 flip we're going to be here for. The Utes closer to 2 up, Staples closer to 2 up. In the Utes, you got NEE, RevStrat, potentially full time frame continuity if that works. On the Strat attack, you're going to have Myrna, or on the Strat time report. And I did not get that done. Normally we do a Strat time report on the third 60 of the day. And what we do is we just scan 62 down or 2 up, full time frame continuity. And we're a little late to doing that, so we're going to miss out on the Strat attack stuff. Like for example, if we scan 2 down 60s with continuity, what we want to look for is 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. So you can see Myrna, 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. Do this on the third 60 of the day. These are the names where they're truly got a lot of selling going on. So Myrna and APA. You see APA 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. This is already almost an outside month though. Now it's from the gap list yesterday. 3, 2 takes them out. Utes 2-2 on the 60 up, giving control to the monthly guys. Staples 2-2 60 up, third add in the Staples. So you got 30 reversal, you got 5-minute add, and then you got the 60 add, 3 entries. And that means you're playing with their money, so you can get your stops to your break-even level, whatever that may be. Semis, 15 inside bar could trigger 15 PMG, could trigger 60 RevStrat semis, SMH. So some selling in the tech potentially, and then some buying in Staples utility potentially. Or not potentially, but definitely they're doing that. So this is gonna be the last thing you got. Staples utilities up. NEE in the utilities specifically. And then you could look at like SO 3-2. Duck has a 2-2, little redder. You can look at KO in the Staples. Technically Pepsi in the Staples too. And then in the semis, this 15 just broke down, so that's number 1. Number 2 is gonna be the 60. And we'll just have to see. Go to Dow Jones. Inside, so stuck for 2 hours. SPY. Inside bar and slightly red. So you can see on the 60 change, fivers, continuity changes back through this range. SMH so far not strong enough selling to take the 60s down. Staples staying up, going to 60 magnitude shortly. The Utes, after an initial break on the 60, not staying in force, but they're staying green for now, so I'll give them some time. And then what we can do is use a stat site to add information to our trades. So if we go into the Staples, which is consumer defensive, we can look for a 62-2 reversal or in-force signal in the Staples. You'll see we have 16 2-2 reversals. KHC and Kroger with inside bars will be stronger. KHC is inside bar up. Kroger is inside bar up, relative strength. And you can gauge the magnitude by drawing the broad information sequence here. So here it is. And you've got the whole 60 to try and go after these. CAG will be the strongest with a RevStrat, full time from continuity, CAG, magnitude to 31. Or actually, 3097, 1 penny above high day. So you got all the Staples doing that. Flip long. If you go in the Utes, you have 13 Utes doing that, and you can see same thing. Everything green minus the day. So this is changing control back to the monthly, weekly guys, as far as we understand. It's just got to get moving. Staples are moving a little better. There's magnitude on the XLP. And SPY, looks like they're staying a 160, closer to 2 up. Q's staying a 1, closer to 2 up. Dow Jones, closer to breaking a 60 and up. Apple, 3-2 reversal day. Apple, that's a buy. I apologize, I was not keeping track of that. We did mention Apple was one of the buys, and tech is the only one that I can see. And we can use the stat site to see that as well. So we go into the tech, we look for a 2-up day. You see in tech, you got very few, and for some reason, Apple is not showing up here. What the heck? I'm not sure why it's not showing up there, but it should be. So another little data problem. It's the only tech that we have doing that. It's also 3-2-60, so you might want to look for a lower time frame if that's gonna get moving. SMH goes inside fiver, so 15 is still good, but the 5 goes 1, either confirm or negate. Utilities creates an outside fiver triangle, broadening formation. Staples hit their 60 magnitude, so they did what they're supposed to do there. Now the question is, can they do any more than that? And with all these inside bars on this flip, maybe you get a rev strat Dow Jones, but a lot of inside bars to start. Unless that changes, you're getting really stuck in this morning range. So the chop shop, 3 hours inside on the Qs, we got to get out of that. So what you can do going into the rest of the day, you can either check the charts every 60 minutes. What we want to look for is a scenario 3 or a compound 3. So once you can create a nice big broadening formation, then we can look to trade again. At this point, you'll see the range has restarted and gotten smaller. So if we go in Qs, it looks like this. How are we getting out of this try is our question. You can either set an alert at low a day or high a day if you're not going to look at the charts, or you could technically just check in every 30, 60 minutes and see. But really the only thing that could happen that'd be good would be trying to change this equilibrium, but they're nowhere near reversing this here. Semis are a lot closer. So SMH closer to fivers back down, which would take the 60 down. So that's one thing that is doing something. Staples still staying good. So there's 2 different ways that you can manage positions. You can either set alerts on reversals against you. So if a 30 goes against you, you can get out. You can set alerts at the daily open or high a day and just keep a break even and walk away and just see if you make your money all the way up into here with their money, no risk to you, break even. Or some people will choose to trail their stops using things like a parabolic SAR. So you can see in here, if you go to like a 5-minute, they'll set an alert on this and then use that alert when it takes this out as a reason to exit. So you can see like the short in the morning takes you out in here, and then you can flip long with their money, and then it might take you out later today, or maybe it doesn't at all today. We'll see. But that's about all I've got for you guys this morning. You have the semis breaking the 60 rev strat down. So you'll have things like MU 3-2-60 down really weak. Marvel might do that. AMD is a little weaker, but stuck. AVGO is a 15 trying to do similar. NVIDIA maybe does that similarly, but a little stronger than the rest of the semis. ADI is doing that. So there's a few things. Maybe it makes a little day. Maybe it doesn't. We'll have to see. But a lot of stuck stuff. So you want to take high day or low day out. If you can't do that, you're getting chopped up. So staples stay good. Utilities might just be a cut, or you give them some patience. But that is about all I got for you guys. This is one question we have that we can talk about here. Do you rather play in the money or out of the money options? It depends. If I'm playing on a Friday, I would want to play at the money if I'm playing 0 DTE or maybe slightly out of the money. But the goal with our options trades is always to go from out of the money to in the money. So we can quickly talk about this. There is a full clip on Twitter on the stat trading that you can take a look at. But if we go in here, So on options, what we're looking to do is you have two values, you got intrinsic and extrinsic. So the extrinsic value is the thing you're paying for. So whenever you buy an option, this is what you're paying for. You're buying how long it has till it expires and then how volatile the stock is, because the more volatile it is, the more you have to pay for time. So if it moves plus or minus 10 cents in a week, you're probably not going to pay more than like 20 cents for an options contract, right? If it moves plus or minus $10 in a week, you might be paying $5, $6, $7 for a contract expiring in a few days, or in a day. I mean, $10 in a day, you might pay like $10 for a weekly option, right? And that's per share. So if you pay $10 on a contract, it's $10 per share, makes it $1,000 contract. So what we're looking to do is we want to buy options here, just extrinsic, not super far out of the money because those are more likely to just go to zero, but slightly out of the money. And then we want a magnitude that puts a very big intrinsic value. So if we can buy with a value here, and then the intrinsic value can go to that, that's where we make all our money, from this to that. So you write it from here to here. So when we're looking at applying this, we want to cluster pivot targets together so we can expect bigger moves. So in this example, 27.25 to 25.53. Then we want to ask ourselves, how in the money would those options be on that chain at magnitude at 25.53, and what are they trading at when that signal breaks? So if you look at the 27 put, at 27.25, it's trading about 81 cents. So if the 27 put goes $1.50 in the money at 25.53, it's going to be worth $1.50 intrinsic because it's $1.50 in the money. So if it's 80 cents and it's going to be worth $1.50 intrinsic, we can buy it expecting it to go double or more. So it goes 81 cents to 2, right? And the reason it does that is because you still have that theta value. So it's worth 1.5 intrinsic, and then it's worth, like, give or take, we'll just say 50, 60 cents extrinsic based on how long it has. And this is a weekly option. You can also look at the 26.5. You can see when that goes in force at 27.25, magnitude to 25.5. The 26.5 put would be $1 in the money at magnitude. So when it breaks at 54 cents, it's going to $1 intrinsic. So you can buy it right there. And then once it's $1 in the money, it's worth $1.50 because it's still worth that about 50 cents intrinsic that you paid, or extrinsic that you paid for just for the time to hold it. So we want to be in the money before our targets, and we want an intrinsic value higher than whatever we paid for it, because that allows you to then have break-even stops, even though you're playing options which depreciate. Because intrinsic value, as you can see here, intrinsic value does not dissipate with time. It stays the same. So that's what we're looking for with options. And therefore, like when I'm looking at Coca-Cola, when this breaks here, 68.53, it's only going to move 70 cents, right? So maybe a 68.50 put, I personally just used a 69 because I'll make more money. It's already moving $1. Every time this drops $1, that 69 put goes $1 further in the money. So I just bought it in the money and expected that if it did work really big, I'd made a lot. And if it didn't, I made like 30%. So did that. When it comes to out of the money stuff, that's where, like PayX, for example, we can take this RevStrat week with at full time from continuity. If every expectation it goes to 128, we can use like a 122, 123 call and say, well, if it goes up there, it's worth $5, and they're trading at like less than $1 to start the week. So we can do that, or go maybe just slightly closer, 120s, they'll go to $8 at the end of the week, right? So that is how we do options. So the last thing we're going to talk about here today, I'll let you guys figure out what's going on with the market. It looks like we got still recovery. SPY goes 2 up again. Qs does go 2 up again, just stuck. IBM goes 2 up again. Dow Jones inside bar up, confirming the reversal. So you got some evidence of recovery. The staples will be the strongest. Utilities would be the second there. And that's going to be about all I got for you guys today. So I hope you guys had a decent trading day. A little bit more difficult in the morning with those smaller time frame signals like the 5ers, 15ers, but still some good stuff just on the 30-60 gappers. So great examples of that stuff today, like Coca-Cola or like the Utes, right? So really good examples of that. But that's gonna be all I got for you guys. So hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll have the weekend video coming out Sunday, and I'm gonna be golfing the rest of the day. So for those of you guys in stat, if you do need me, I will have my phone on me, but I'm not gonna be sitting at the charts so much. So adios. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.